Hey.
Hello. Hello. It's funny, we've been chatting for a long time, but not about the episode, about other things, because we are friends outside of The Bachelor. What? Like sometimes I kind of remind myself, I'm like, actually, Jess and I know each other outside the context of this insane show and world and universe nation. So
For 1 year shy of a decade. 6 months shy of a decade.
just
How insane is
actually
that?
shut the fuck up.
How you feel about that?
Oh my God. Yeah, because I'm going to have my 10-year high school reunion this year. Should I go? I kind of want to go because I'm definitely cool.
I don't think
Queer.
we're having
B,
one.
I'm like yeah, exactly. Like I like kind of showing off, but I'm interesting, I think. I'm like an astrologer. I have a podcast. I'm a private chef. I live in New York City. I'm queer now with a girlfriend. And I just kind of want to go flirt with everybody because I'm that person. Also, I'm hot now. Like I wasn't not hot then, but everybody thought that you're the band geek who's like taller than most boys because they still haven't hit their spot.
Oh, do you
We
want to talk about
literally
tea
could have.
really fast?
Oh, yeah.
You don't
I
have
guess we
to.
could. No, I guess we could do that because, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, because the tea is annoying but funny.
So I've got 3 things that I can think of.
Okay, I have. Yeah. I'm at
Probably
like
for more
2.
than
What's
that.
your third?
So I've
'Cause
got the reconciliation of the most attention hoary couple that's ever come out of this franchise.
yeah, that was one of
And I
mine.
use the term whore affectionately, but
Yeah, attention horror because Instagram follower horror. Yeah,
and then Matt James's statement and then Chris Harrison's cameo.
that's okay. That's it. Yeah.
And
The
those are
cameo
the
was the
3.
one I forgot about, even though I
Yeah.
like listened to. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do we want to do first? Let's do the Matt and Chris stuff, and then let's talk about Dale and Clare.
Okay.
And we'll
Okay.
do the lighter shit at the end. Okay.
Okay.
Go for it. Do you want to go for it? What do you want to do?
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh.
I
That was
used
a
a new
base.
brine in my dirty martini, and
Mm.
I was pleasantly surprised, but it had a kick that I was not expecting.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. So we've got we'll start with Chris. Yeah, we'll do like
Yeah.
lighter, heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. So we have Chris Harrison, who, as many of us know, if you don't know, feel free to go check out his Instagram while it's still up. I'm sure it'll be deleted at some point, maybe 6 months from now. But Chris Harrison put out his statement saying that he'd be stepping aside from the franchise and kind of taking time to reflect and learn and do all of those things that they include when they make these written empty promises. So he, of course, naturally didn't take a step away from Cameo because why would he? ABC is not affiliated with his fucking Cameo. Like, that's something he does on his own fucking time. But anyway, so his price was initially $500 for a fucking cameo, and you had to wait because he was so booked up. And now
It's so much money.
I
mean, like, it's not like a lot of money to a celebrity who gets paid, a shitload of money from a TV franchise and multiple shows that he hosts. But
yes, exactly.
It's a lot of money to a single person
who just wants him to say hi.
Yeah, and also he is booked and busy, seemingly, from Cameo.
Booked and busy.
So why would you need anyway?
So he dropped his prices initially. All he did was drop his prices. And then after he got these call outs about like
lots of knock stories.
Excuse me, sir. Define stepping aside, please. And then all of a sudden he was not available on Cameo and was like, okay, so maybe I should like actually step aside. Like maybe I should actually like read a book. I don't know.
Mean I actually have to disappear entirely from the internet? I just thought that I could like
yeah.
Like, be quiet for a couple days and do my own thing off Instagram. What, I can't do stuff off Instagram? You're not gonna let me do that either? Ugh. Okay, fine, guys. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll go and hang out with my bae, Lauren Zima. Whatever.
It was just incredibly disappointing. And it just goes to show that, like, we've been saying it. I listen, my big call, I don't know if we talked about this in the last episode or if this is something you and I discussed privately, but like, more video apologies, please. I want to see your fucking face. I want to
Literally.
see your expressions. I don't want to read what Lori K wrote. I don't fucking care about what Lori K has written for these people. I want to like see what you think. I want to see your like there could be a whole podcast in and of that itself. It's like shitty fake apologies that are pointless, and like the fact that people eat them up is infuriating to me. It fills me with rage. But yeah, so hopefully now he's actually taking the time to reflect, although we don't have high hopes because it's shallow and it's empty, as is Chris Harrison by definition. So,
well, yeah, I mean, he's not going to be someone that steps aside. He's not going to be someone who actively, like, I mean, my thought, I don't remember if I said this on the last episode or if I said this to somebody talking about this. I think he's going to try and not get fired, but then retire in like 2 seasons. You know what I mean? He's going to try to make it look like where he leaves on his own accord, because he probably doesn't want to be the subject of like, wow, you didn't get fired, like, fuck you. Like, you know, he doesn't want that Instagram hate. He's a Leo at the end of the day, everybody. So
he cares very much what you think about him.
Exactly. And not only that, he's this is kind of annoying to say. I mean, I feel already annoyed saying this about him, but the one soft spot in his little chart is that Cancer Venus, because that's something that also very much cares about the opinions of people. So he's a rich, dumb, fucking motherfucker racist for saying that shit on the interview. I just don't think that he's not capable to just be like, fuck you, I'm gonna just keep being the host of my show and I don't give a shit. No, he's gonna find a way to make it look like it's not as bad for him, and then he's leaving on his own, because that's who I see Chris Harrison as being. However, who fucking knows? Maybe the show will have the balls to fire him. I just don't think
I think
so.
they will. I don't
Really?
think that they're, I think that I think, and this is okay. This is the thing that comes from like, I don't want to say watching too much TV. Like, parents are so worried about their kids picking up violence and stuff, but no, your kids are going to pick up like social dysfunction, because the way that I look at it now, and like the layers, I'm that meme of that woman with all of the fucking numbers flying around, like the lady, because as far as I see it, like Chris Harrison,
like that yesterday on the fucking.
That's how I fucking feel when I think about this, because like, so Chris Harrison is the face of the franchise, right? But like at the end of the day, it's a business. And like ABC, if I think that if there's a room of executives that are meeting in private and they sit there and they say, okay, like this is kind of serious, like people are taking this pretty seriously, like it's not blowing over as quickly as we thought it would, like it's actually continuing to pick up traction, so like maybe this is something serious. I have no doubt in my mind that they would sit there and they would say, we have the opportunity to throw one singular person under the bus. Like, I think that they're going to sit there and say, like, he's catching most of the heat. Like, we can actually probably, like, cover our asses if we placate them, just like they did with having Matt be the Bachelor. And, like, maybe that was premeditated prior to all of the business in some degree, and maybe it wasn't. But no one can really argue the fact that there was this like call to action, like give us diversity, give us our fucking Black Bachelor, like enough is enough. And they sat there and were like, okay, here's Matt James. So they really don't have an issue listening. They don't have an issue hearing. Well, maybe they have an issue listening, but they don't have an issue hearing. They can hear us at the volume at which we are speaking. And they have no issue giving us what we ask for, because in their mind, they still have this like pedestal. They still have this position of power. Like, okay, like we'll fire Chris Harrison. Like they'll still watch the show and we can still get away with this shit. So I think that they will fire him, as long as like I said, like if this keeps like gaining momentum, like if this keeps at like the rate that it's going, I think that they'll be like, oh shit, okay, like if we have a chance to like save our asses by fucking over Chris Harrison, like sorry, Chris, you've been a loyal employee, but like, as we definitely did say last week, I can walk down the street in LA and throw a fucking rock and find just a bland and talentless white man anywhere. Anywhere.
Yeah, it's literally not about
Walk into any vegan cafe and look for a middle-aged man and you'll fucking find exactly who you're looking for.
yeah. I mean,
Don't worry about it.
I think that I don't know. I definitely think that the show could live without Chris Harrison. And I actually do think that you know, here is the at least once an episode shout out to Game of Roses. But Bachelor Clues puts it best when he described it as like every sport has a moment where they're like commissioner, or even like kind of down to, in my opinion, like a coach, like someone who's a very heavily influential figure in a sport franchise, whichever it may be. It goes under something like the team and the sport live on past that person, like that coach, that commissioner, that whatever, because it's the game that people like. It does not have anything to do with the players or the coach. And that being said, it has nothing to do with the contestants of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and it has nothing to do with Chris Harrison. It has everything to do with the game. The fact that we love watching people compete to be in love with someone. It's fascinating and interesting, and we have grown to love it as a collective society who is engaging in reality television.
It's like, it's so interesting. Like the concept of the butterfly effect and like taking a philosophy class, like really, not that those two are related, even though they are, whatever.
You're like, really, I know.
Really fucking ruined me though, because then you sit there and you walk it back where it's like, yeah, like the game will live on, but it's like the game is only the game because of the viewers. If the viewers wanted to see something different, to shout Game of Roses out again, the pit would fucking provide. If we sat there and we said if collectively the majority of Bachelor Nation viewers turned around and said like, we want survival style eliminations, they wouldn't placate us and give it to us, but they would find a way to work it in and give us more drama. Like they would give us maybe,
I mean, they've tried
not exactly what we want, but they would give us what we want.
But think about it. They have even tried ways already to spice it up and make it totally different. Like they had, you know,
and we hated
Bachelorette. Yeah, literally like 2 Bachelorettes on one season competing to be the Bachelorette, and then one of them wins on that for the first night because the guys voted for the one they liked better.
I hated that.
That was so shitty because that's literally like, men, you can pick which woman you want.
And also they chose Caitlin Bristow, so let's talk about that.
I mean, whatever. But that's because they were, I think all of that shit was planned. Like it wasn't, I don't have any doubt in my mind that they were not planning to make Caitlin Bristow the Bachelorette. They were just doing that to ruin the other woman's life. I think her name was Brittany. It was something with a B.
I was actually just reading about this recently. This just came up on something that I was like looking at. Oh, hiccups.
But anyway, so yeah, Chris Harrison's Get Up cameo, shut the fuck up, and
actually do something to better yourself.
Stop, come on. At least Rachel's been seen on her stories reading the book Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man.
So I cannot remember where this came from, and I'm sorry that I don't have a source, but someone put it perfectly, and this is something that like we knew. Look, as soon as we saw this picture, we knew that this was the case, but like this was put and worded so well, where it's like, if you are caring enough about her to be watching what she's doing, it was strategically placed so that you would find it because you are looking hard enough. No, but if you are one of her followers who doesn't think she did anything wrong, it was not the focus of the photo. So you would think that she's just enjoying her matcha and living her fucking life. But to the people that are sitting there like, okay, so is she bettering herself? You see that there is a book there. So it's like a very...
No, I was going to say like...
strategically placed book.
I do not for 1 second believe that was just a casual photo, that she had no thought behind, that she was just taking a picture of her drink. No. Honestly, like
Because you
It
have
was
books stacked and this just so
so
happened to be open.
actually, let me give a really, really good comparison example here for a moment. At least
Gimme.
this is what I think, which is going down to astrology. Okay. And again, disclaimer, astrology and your chart and whatever sign does not make you racist. However, racist people or people who do racist things have a chart and they react to things and they do things based on their chart. It's not to say that like the racism is because of the zodiac sign. It is because of the fact that like they just respond to something. They respond to any kind of accusation like this because they are this sign. It has nothing to do with the racism. So yeah,
Right.
whatever. Disclaimer, just for anybody who's newly listening, because it's hometowns. You never know. Maybe people listening in. So, Caitlin, you mentioned Caitlin Bristow, right? So remember when Caitlin Bristow had her little oopsie daisy with using Chelsea's story about her hair to sell hair vitamins and then being extremely dramatically obvious on her Instagram on purpose
How
to
could
be
I
like,
forget?
look at this. Look, I'm watching the hair documentary about
That
black hair that
one
everybody
YouTube
knows.
video,
I
yeah.
am taking notes. I am learning and listening. I'm donating my money for my profits. I'm doing all this. Okay. So that stuff is like so in your face. It's so forward. It is so direct. That like she is and it feels cringy, right? Because it's a lot. And she's trying to like really, really press it out there, right? So that she's a Gemini, right? An air sign. And the Gemini is kind of like Geminis are like, look, I'm learning, literally listening and learning should be a Gemini phrase. Because literally listening, learning, those are two things that Geminis love to do. And Geminis love to learn a new fact. And Geminis love to watch a documentary and take notes. So the fact that she's doing that on her Instagram story to prove like that's the Gemini reaction, the air sign. Another air sign, Rachel Kirkconnell, she is a Libra. So Libras are known to be the scales and needing to have something to be to balance, right? And so with Rachel, she's out here on her Instagram being really subtle. She's trying not to be as obvious as Caitlin Bristow when she's dealing with her racism moment. So she's going to be, like we've said, she's going to Libra design the most perfect shot and aesthetic and very subtle look because, like you said, she's working for two audiences here. She's working for her normal audience of people who don't give a fuck about what she's reading and are not going to analyze her photos, just love her and like her stuff and want her to follow her because she's an influencer or don't give a fuck that she's MAGA. Second, she's like you said, she's playing to the people who are looking and who were like, oh, that's what this is. Here we go. So that's that Libra being like, look, I'm trying to play and appease everybody here. I'm not trying to make a very overt statement about look at the book I'm reading to learn about what this is. I'm showing you my pretty green drink and you get to see a scattered pile of books in the background, but one of them has a very, very distinct cover. You can't even read what it is. It's just the cover. Like, honestly, it was a very Libra expert move. Like,
yeah, incredibly.
and I'm not complimenting
as
her
you would
because
expect
I
it to
agree
be.
and like this. I'm just complimenting the astrology of this. Like, okay, girl, like I see you. So,
Like
two
we could have expected this is how she would have
exactly
behaved.
like it doesn't surprise me that she a Libra and a Pisces moon. It doesn't surprise me that she is waiting for everybody else to say when she should say something, right? She's letting the contract live. She is letting the show tell her when to release her statements. She's doing all that. That is very Libra Pisces, which is just like, I'll just do whatever you guys want me to do because I want to be whoever you guys want me to be and be very like reflective of whatever you guys need from me, which isn't a good way to go about the world, but that's a young person for you. She's 24 or whatever. So,
Well, that's like those are the
yeah.
people that are in fucking danger when they think that they can enter
Yes.
the entertainment industry or like the modeling industry
Yes.
because like okay,
And she's gonna get, yeah.
Rachel Lindsay said that there was nothing in Rachel's contract that stopped her explicitly from speaking. Rachel was just taking the advice of people that Rachel, honey, they don't have your best interest at heart. These people do not
Yes.
care about you, especially now.
So that being said, whatever, Rachel is being real sus and I'm intrigued to see what all of that. God, like I can't believe that we have to have, why can't Women Tell All and the next episode be in 1 week and we can then skip ahead? Like, come on.
Because they
I don't
enjoy
need to
torturing us.
Yeah, they are really going to torture us with
this. They don't care about
this.
us either. They don't fucking care about anybody.
I mean, in theory, we still have literally like 4. We could have easily 3 more weeks, 3 or 4, maybe 4. Yeah.
Fantasy Suites and then what?
The finale, but usually they stretch the finale into 2 episodes. I guess.
I think that they're gonna end up.
I guess they would do
I don't know.
back to back.
I feel like it's gonna end up being a 2-night. Well, yeah, isn't it usually a 2-night?
I feel like with this after the final rose, I bet it's gonna be fucking juicy. It better be. If it's not, I'm gonna be pissed. But also, if they broke up and they're on that and they haven't filmed after the final rose yet,
okay. Well, actually, that's a great segue into our next piece of
Matt's apology
is we finally have a statement from Sir Matt James.
It's interesting because I feel like I've seen a lot of people reacting to it very like positively, and I honestly do agree with some people who were like, actually I was listening to Chatty Broads earlier, and they were thinking that it was good that he said that he didn't have to say something really in this situation. And maybe
I don't think it's his responsibility. I don't think that,
and
it
especially
has
because
to do with him at all.
Especially because him saying something is really what spoiled it for me. You know what I mean? Like him saying something makes it clear that like obviously like he should say something about her, but also it's like, oh no, he's saying something because he and Rachel are fucking fighting about it. You know what I mean? Like there's something going on. It's shitty.
The girls are fighting.
Yeah. Whew. And so that
I just think that like his statement, I think, addressed a lot of things, but he didn't actually tell us anything.
Yeah, like he said all of the things. Yeah. He said all the things. He said he mentioned Chris and Rachel Lindsay, and he mentioned Rachel Kirkconnell, said her name and full name. And I mean, I guess we could just read it, but it's
I have it up in front of me. Do you want to read it?
You go ahead and read it because it's not in front of me.
It's just not, I just happened to be on Twitter and someone just tweeted about it. So the statement from Matt James reads, "The past few weeks have been some of the most challenging of my life, and while there are several episodes left of the season, it is important that I take time to address the troubling information that has come to light since we wrapped filming, including the incredibly disappointing photos of Rachel Kirkconnell and the interview between Rachel Lindsay and Chris Harrison. The reality is that I'm learning about these situations in real time, and it has been devastating and heartbreaking to put it bluntly. Chris's failure to receive and understand the emotional labor that my friend Rachel Lindsay was taking on by graciously and patiently explaining the racist history of the antebellum South, a painful history that every American should understand intimately, was troubling and painful to watch. As Black people and allies immediately knew and understood, it was a clear reflection of a much larger issue that the Bachelor franchise has fallen short on addressing adequately for years. This moment has sparked critical conversations and reporting, raised important questions, and resulted in inspiring displays of solidarity from the Bachelor Nation." Sorry, that was weird. "It has also pushed me to reevaluate and process what my experience on The Bachelor represents, not just for me, but for all the contestants of color, especially the Black contestants of this season and seasons past, and for you, the viewers at home. I will continue to process this experience, and you will hear more from me in the end. My greatest prayer is that this is an inflection point that results in real and institutional change for the better."
I mean, I think what he said is things that have been said. Like that's what I mean. Yeah, like he's not saying something new from his own perspective yet, which is probably because of contract stuff. It probably is going to happen on after the final rose. Other than him saying, "I'm shocked, disappointed, upset. My friend like Rachel Lindsay, et cetera, et cetera."
We know he feels something about it.
Like, yeah, he's giving his feelings, but he's not being. Really, what I think is he's being very Sagittarius, where he's like, "Look, I'm not pleased. I'm being a little blunt here. No one was prepared for me to say something. I guess I feel like I have to say something." Like it's a very like Sagittarius attitude, which is like, "No, I fucking need to say something." So, and I imagine this is really fucking shitty for Matt. Like Matt shouldn't have to deal with this. There's like so much. Matt should not have to deal with a racist franchise that's going to put him in a role touting him as the first Black Bachelor, and then put a racist on his season to unintentionally not fall in love with it. But it's like, and so and the pressure that Matt had as far as being the first Black Bachelor, that is all very valid, and it's shitty because this is now what's happened from this experience. Like he can't even leave it with a positive note, really, with like. That's so shitty, and that's unfair to him. And when it really could have been good, like Rachel's shit, like, yes, it required a lot of snooping and digging and whatever, but come on, like, I can't imagine that the Bachelor people haven't fucking hired somebody who is a fucking, like us, people like us.
Well, what I don't understand is, so I also listened to Chatty Broads this morning, and I would agree in the sense that when they said like Matt clearly felt like he was walking into he felt like safe walking into this. He felt like maybe I will be exploited because I know the nature of the show, but like ultimately, like I'm the star. Like how much can they really exploit me? Like it's clear that he had that mentality, and now he's looking back on it like, oh fuck, like good's not as advertised kind of deal. And I lost my train of thought because this is about something that Chatty Broad said.
Oh yeah, I was like, I listened to them too. So
but it was Becca saying that like you guys don't understand, like it's the foot soldiers, like it's the viewers that find all this stuff. Like yeah, sure, they vet,
yes, yeah,
they don't vet as much as you think they would, and blah 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 blah. Now this has been happening. Obviously, it's been happening at an increased rate every year for the past like few years, but it's no mystery to anyone, especially the producers of The Bachelor and the team behind the show, given the fact that it is forced Rachel Kirkconnell, Matt James, and now Chris Harrison to make statements about this. But like they've noticed that people do care about and people do search for these things. So why would they not have adapted to the times? Like I don't find that to be a valid excuse. Like,
especially
we
when
just like
again,
don't
this stuff
vet
is
that
really
much.
quick to find when you have someone that does go
When
digging
someone's
and
trying.
looking. Yeah, exactly. Because again, all it does take is like so Chatty Broad specifically did mention the whole like you don't see who likes something unless you're following the person that you're liking, whatever. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, as long as you're following Rachel Kirkconnell, if you click on any friend she has tagged in her Instagram, which trust me, it's a lot. She does not only post photos of herself. If you scroll far enough, she's got pictures of all her friends and tag them. And in her tagged photo, she has all her friends tagging her. It doesn't take much effort to go click through some of her friends, scroll down a bit and look for pictures. Like it fucking doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't need excuses. And also I said it, I don't remember when I said it, but I literally was like, oh gee, I wonder which of these is going to be the outright racist when we were talking about the women. And it was before anything happened because this happened on Rachel Lindsay's season. Like they put a racist on Rachel Lindsay's season for television, for drama. That happened. That's a fact already. So it's like, that's not out of the ordinary for them. Hence why the Rachel thing, I don't take any excuses of like, oh, we just like weren't really vetting that hard. No.
Okay.
I'm getting
No, you're fine. Cause I'm about to like, maybe not blow your mind because I'm sure that you could guess this, but like I'm about to validate the fuck out of you because I can tell you, for any listeners who are new here, I was on Food Network's Chopped. And I was cast on Chopped because a casting producer found me on Instagram. And during my second interview, so I had a phone call with the girl who found me on Instagram, and then she passed me along to somebody else, and then that person passed me along to their boss. And by the time I got to their boss, a question was asked completely unrelated to my experience in food and anything, but I legitimately had a casting producer on the other end of the phone be like, I'm sorry, do you know Tyler Cameron? Because they had gone so far back on my Instagram and saw a picture of me with Tyler Cameron. So like they look through your shit. Like they're going back and looking through your shit. So I don't fucking care. If they knew that I was with Tyler Cameron on a sidewalk in Manhattan in the middle of the fucking summer, then they know that Rachel Kirkconnell went to an Antebellum Old South party.
Yeah, that one,
Suck
for
my dick
instance,
if you
like
disagree.
shit, that
I
stuff
don't
is on
care.
her fucking Facebook apparently. So
Exactly. I don't care. Like they see that shit and they blatantly ignored it. And
Matt said his stuff. He's gonna say more things after the final rose probably, and I am on the edge of my seat. And the last thing, okay, Clare and Dale, them motherfuckers are back together and they're slapping ass on the beach and shit. So
we need to talk about. So you mentioned it on the Instagram story, but what is your take on Dale and Clare?
Say what? Sorry. I was about to shame Olivia, who I thought was maybe working on their laptop after they just said, I just want to like chill tonight. And no, they're watching anime. So
they're like, take a break. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Relaxation is
Sorry.
acceptable.
What is my opinion on Clare and Dale?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it because you posted about it on the stories last night, and my take
We
was
both
just so vastly different that I was like, okay,
Oh.
so I need to share mine if she's sharing hers.
Okay, so the thing is that I feel like your take could be correct also. I'm not against your take. Your take
I feel like
also accurate.
My take is seems more accurate because it seems more realistic. Your take seems more accurate if this really is the conspiracy theory that we're all kind of wanting it to be.
Yes, because
like you're like the radical and I'm like
well, okay, really what it is my conspiracy is like all of this is orchestrated by the show, the producers, and et cetera, the network, where yours is like this is orchestrated by Dale and Claire themselves. So it's
by Dale specifically.
Right. But the common theme, because again, Gemini risings, we are the twins. We're just like one way looking on the other way. We both agree that it is somewhat of an orchestration. It is not a just like, oh, I just think we broke up and now we're just like back together. Like, no. There's something going on here. There is something going on because this is just annoying. And what this really sniffs like to me is
Not
Libra
kosher.
Pisces bullshit, which everybody's going to come. Okay, look, I also went on a rant this morning. Okay.
You must address because you said you would.
I must address. Claire.
Promise the people.
All right. So I went on a mini rant on stories today on my Instagram story, the Instagram story. I have been getting DMs every not here and there. It's not like somebody who's relentless. Nobody's like bothering me that much. It's just like enough people now have DM'd me and I've discussed this now enough with people to where I want to say something. So Claire is born on the right in the that zone of Pisces transitioning into Aries season. That being said, she could be a Pisces sun or an Aries sun. And I feel like I have talked about this a lot because we talked about this on Average Bear when we were recapping her season the whole fucking time. Every episode I talked about it and I gave direct evidence from each of the episodes. So if you're really, really interested, go to Average Bear Podcast and listen to the recaps we did of the first 4 episodes of Claire and on The Bachelorette with Dale. I have many opinions and I can't think of them and categorize them in my brain as accurately right now, but as far as the evidence from the show she was on specifically, I have it. It's there. Okay. Go listen. But as presently
we'll
right
link
now,
it below.
Right. Presently right now though, the thing I'm thinking. So the argument is she's either a Pisces or an Aries, but there's another thing that actually could change with her birth time, and that's her moon sign, which is a bother to me also. So she could be either a Virgo or a Libra moon. I'm extremely convinced. I have many opinions as to why she should be a Virgo moon also. And so that leans me also to her being a Pisces. If she's a Virgo moon, there's more time of the Pisces sun with Virgo moon instead of Aries, that kind of thing. So the reasons she could be a Virgo moon are she is sober. That is a major Virgo vibe. Virgos, I know, right? Virgos are either like, I've known a lot of party animal type Virgos, but usually it's like a drinking to avoid something. And then they often realize they shouldn't be drinking as much as they do. Not to say that they're all sober, but it is super fucking common for Virgos to not end up drinking a lot of alcohol or being sober entirely. Health nuts, they tend to be, right? B, Virgo moon. She has been a caretaker for both of her parents. This also leans into her being a Pisces sun to me, because the Pisces Virgo axis is the axis, the oppositions, those 2 signs are all about service to others, service to other people. Virgo tends to be more practical service, like, oh, here's this thing I can get for you. But Virgo nurses, so common. It's like, and even teachers too,
Yes,
right? So Virgos are very interested in making sure they can care for all their people very practically. And the fact that she has a mother in a home, and she also cared for her father who had Alzheimer's and all that stuff, that is very Virgo moon. And the moon sign also is what represents our relationship to usually our nurturing parent and our mothers. So it could be the mother or the pot father too. It doesn't it's not does not have to be gendered. It could be like either parent. So the fact that that is the case, like she's got these parents who've gotten through, who've been sick, who are going through active sickness or some kind of like chronic situation, and she is taking care of them and is very emotional about it. Pisces sun, she ends up having an anxiety attack and sobbing over it on and which, look, this again back to chart not and not does not equal also, okay, the same attitude about racism, that your chart does not make you like have a mental illness or whatever, like, but when you suffer, or not suffer, but you know, when you deal with these kinds of things, all of these reactions pop up, right? And your chart does show you like things that are happening. Virgo is like a very chronic overthinker, and Virgo moons get in their heads all the time. And Pisces suns love to fantasize about their romantic life and their situations. And it's a very, oh, wispy, love at first sight. He's my man. Like, that's all of this screams Pisces. And then the biggest tell of Pisces ever, Clare and feet. I don't know what it is about Clare and feet. Okay. It is not just so there is the most recent photo of Clare's hands holding shells, one of which, by the way, it's this hand, the left hand. She's holding shells, and there is a band
You
on
saw
the ring
it.
finger.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw it too.
Not enough people were pointing that out. Everybody was like, "Oh, look, it's Dale's feet." No, but do you not know that she's on holding her left hand that has the ring finger on it with the ring there?
How shocked are we? Claire is that I don't know this, but I feel very strongly that Claire is that woman who like they break up for a year and then they get back together and she's like, but we've been together for like a year and 4 months.
Okay, she's a Pisces. Like, that is what I'm saying. Okay?
But so you know that like as soon as he was like, yeah, Claire, let's get back together, she's like, okay, so like,
all right. The other thing too, exactly. The other thing too that I will say about the Pisces
engaged
shit
again, right?
is that take away what the conspiracies we're about to get into, take away all of that, and just think about Pisces or Dale and Clare. They are pulling peak Pisces Libra bullshit. Pisces is the classic, I'm never over my ex. If my ex just apologized to me, I would fall right back in love. Every fucking don't. If you're a Pisces and you're listening to this, don't lie. I'm a Pisces moon, okay? I do it too. I do it. I really do. But Pisces suns are notorious. They're notorious for getting back with their exes. And so that's that. And then Libra, that's indecisive bullshit. Dale is like, oh, I dumped her, but just kidding. I kind of want her back now. Oh, my image is dying. My followers are lowering. I kind of want her back now. The Pisces is like, of course, like, Dale, I missed you. I've been thinking of you, and I've been writing poems for you. And like, also, oh my God, wait, there's other evidence too that I could compile today listening to Chatty Broads. Jess said a really quick little thing when she was talking about the Clare and Dale tea, and she goes, Claire, you know, Claire's like posting sad playlists, and like Pisces, like that is Pisces culture. As Pisces moon, I have a playlist for every mood. If I make you a playlist as a human being, I love you. That is literally it. I put that on my hinge. Okay. Like, this is not an, and I'm gonna say this is okay. Aries. The other thing I could say, she is a Pisces and an Aries both. She is a Pisces Venus and an Aries Mars without doubt. So no matter what, she has both of these signs in her chart. The Pisces Venus is fucking obvious, extremely obvious. The Aries Mars is also obvious, but it's more about, does she have Sun Venus conjunction in her chart, or does she have Sun Mars? And she is giving me Sun Venus. She gives me her identity is related to her relationships. Her identity is focused on the beauty and aesthetic of life and wispy beauty and like romance and fantasizing and like motivational quotes and going to the beach. The amount of water on her Instagram, you just scroll her pictures. She's by the beach and at the water more than anything else. Like, Pisces. Anyway, okay. So meltdown over. I just have a lot of feelings about this, and I know a lot of Aries
below with your opinion.
Yeah, literally. I know so many Aries women, Aries sun women, and she doesn't give me Aries sun energy. Okay, I said what I said. So You can DM
Unapologetically.
me all you want about Claire being an Aries. I will ignore it. Like,
She-
even if you DM me other things under that, I will just ignore the Aries part and I will keep it pushing. I love to reply to people, but that is the one thing I do not accept anymore because I have given my reasons. And also, Dale is a Pisces moon. Okay. And that Pisces moon bullshit and her Pisces sun bullshit, it just, it tracks. Okay. But I will also say this, Claire, Dale, Claire, if you gave me your birth time and if I found out I confirmed birth time, confirmed, not something from the internet, because the internet has her chart as Aries sun, zero, blah, 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 blah.
Well, this is a
If,
good time to tell you that
yes,
while we've been recording, Bachelor Horoscopes has messaged us again.
oh, I see it right now. Have you been seeing? Yeah. So Bachelor Horoscopes and I have been talking about this a lot because they're the ones who DM'd me, and not one of them people, but they have DM'd me and they were like, I got schooled that she's an Aries. And I was like, oh, I saw, and I do not accept the evidence. Like, I do not accept a screenshot chart from the internet from a website I use all the time and I see all the time. There's this, okay, everybody listening, the extreme astrology nerds, there's a thing called a Rodden rating, Rodden, not, or En, not rotten, Rodden. So it is a system to rate birth time accuracy, and there is no birth time for Claire, so there's nothing. But even there, like, celebrities that do have birth times, there is a rating on astro.com. You can see it, not astro-charts, not astroseek, maybe astroseek, actually, I don't know. But a lot of the common places that you can find charts, if you just Google the name and zodiac chart, they're not going to tell you the Rodden rating if there's a birth time. Astro.com, though, will tell you AA, like 2 A's. That is where you're like, oh, that is a hundo P accurate birth time. But there's others that I see that are like C. And so that's something where I'm like, okay, that's a grain of salt. Like, that rising sign might not be right. I could see it. Like, for instance, Taylor Swift has a C Rodden rating, but I'm pretty convinced that she is a Scorpio rising. So it doesn't matter. Like, it's shit like that. But anyway, Claire has no birth time. Until Claire confirms, I will take nothing. And if she does confirm Aries and Libra moon, there are ways I could delineate all the things I talked about with this too. So TBD. But anyway,
Pisces
Claire,
until proven Aries.
exactly. And Claire also, so Bachelor Horoscopes has been relentlessly mentioning Claire and Dale, and Claire has been seeing all of the stories and she's actively not replying. So anyway, that's
I can
giving
just
me
see
Pisces energy. I'm sorry. So anyway, Dale and Claire are back together. They're annoying, and I'm bothered that I don't know Claire's birth time. That's that. Oh, wait. Our conspiracies. So my conspiracy is that all of this is set up to cover up the fact that Rachel's news was going to drop. So my thought is that Claire and Dale were together, vibing, doing whatever they were doing. The reason me cracks knuckles. The show realizes that the news of Rachel is inevitably going to drop at some point. The shoe is going to drop and it's going to be a thing that they have to talk about, and Rachel's going to have to make a statement and it's going to become news, right? So what they did is they were like, Dale and Claire, break up. Do this. Fuck this. Like, they for some way orchestrated this breakup. So they break up and they're dramatic about it so that we can start the story of like, oh, they're very on and off. They're posting on each other's, they're on the Instagrams all over. These statements aren't lining up. Nothing makes a lot of sense, right? Meanwhile, this is happening around Mercury retrograde. So, right, which is like nothing sticks during retrograde most of the time. So, then Rachel stuff starts dropping. Chris Harrison, what was you doing, buddy? Oh, did he decide to say some dumb shit on an interview? Oh, yeah, he did. Also because of Mercury retrograde, not because of it, he's a racist person, but like his training, his persona of television upholding his image crumbled that day for some reason. There was like something was happening, right? That crumbled and he showed his true self. So that being said, which Rachel said is his true self because she says she's spoken to him about that stuff off camera. So That being said, I think that shocked the Bachelor producers. That was a fucking oh shit. Like, we weren't expecting Chris to say this stuff. This was not in the plan. We were ready to have the Dale and Clare thing cover up Rachel stuff. Now we have a bigger, way bigger news story to cover up. Dale and Clare, get back together right now. Right now. It's only been 10 days. It's like nothing or whatever. It's only been like a week, however long it's been. Let's go because we need something we just need it happening. And one thing another Dale and Clare do, Dale and Clare are a positive, happy interracial couple of a black man and a white woman. And black man Dale is very woke on social media, posting very much against Black Lives Matter or on Black Lives Matter for Black Lives Matter and against the racist stuff and against the coup and all of those things, right? And Claire is a sweet, nice, like palatable. We love her. We love Claire. Yee. So that being said, I just think that this all feels a little too timed exactly for this to feel like and especially because of the way that things are talking about, like, well, it's sweeping the news because it's trying over and while this other thing is happening. And I think it's just bait for all of the people who are in the middle, because there's obviously people who are like fire Chris Harrison no matter what, but I feel like there are some people who are kind of like on the fence, or not even on the fence, just like, I don't know, I just like don't really pay attention. Those fucking viewers, which are very annoying. But then they see this and they're like, oh my god, Dale and Claire, and then they just forget, casual people. And then there's the people who think that Chris Harrison did nothing wrong, or that Rachel did nothing wrong, which is the majority of the viewers of the show. So that being said, it's all a fucking plot. Okay, your turn.
I could see. No, I'm like putting my like Olivia Pope scandal hat on, and like, is this in the realm of possibility? And like,
I also just think that it could
sure.
be both of ours kind of overlapped. Like, I think that it's because it could be the producers are doing this. Maybe Dale broke up with Claire on his own at first, and then the producers are trying to goad him, hey, get back together with Claire. And he's kind of like, well, that would make my followers go back up. That would probably be okay. I could maybe stick it out for X amount of time, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a both and. So yeah.
I think I don't know. I mean, so part of it is that it is difficult for me to imagine Claire doing ABC any favors. Like, they were not exactly like the kindest in their portrayal, and like, I can't imagine her being, I don't want to say on bad terms, because I don't think that she's stupid. I think that she knows like a cash cow when she sees one, but I can't imagine her, as we know, she's like a sensitive lady who like takes her love life and her emotions very seriously, and like, I can't see her being
more
so
argument
casual about it.
More argument. She's a Pisces Virgo. Both of those are the most passive signs ever. Literally, like the fact that everybody thinks and always says, because Claire is a very,
we know she loves the drama,
somewhat
like,
dynamic person, but not really. Yeah. So I'm actually starting to lean into this. What if it is a combination of both, but it's mostly producers and Dale, and it's the Claire is more of a pawn in it, and Dale is the one who's actively talking with producers who are, or really anybody.
Like, Dale is the pawn.
Well, oh yeah, I should
the
say.
Producer pawn. I mean,
yeah.
Claire
Dale is the producer move. So what if Dale wanted to break up with Claire, and then the producers were like, no, we need you to get back together with her because there's a shit show going down right now in the news. And he's like, okay, fine. And then he separately, like, Claire doesn't know this is happening, is like, Claire, miss you. Let's meet up in Florida. Let's like hang out on the beach and go get petties and go get some Italian food and kiss and make up. And she's just like, oh my God, because she's a Pisces. She's like, oh my God, Dale, I missed you. Yeah, hey. So it's like the producers are trying to fuck with it, but it's not a dual Claire and Dale vibe,
So I think,
yes,
listeners, in contrast with that, I think that this has nothing to do with the show whatsoever. And I think that Dale is just a clout chaser of the most dangerous degree. And
Yeah.
he was not expecting as much or like as serious backlash slash criticism as he's been getting
Yeah.
after the breakup. And
Yeah.
I think he's
Which a Libra
trying
Pisces,
to,
again, all this stuff also aligns with this chart to me. So I could see
yeah.
this. Go ahead.
And I think that he's just trying to like backtrack and knows that he can manipulate Claire. So he is manipulating Claire in order
Yeah.
to gain like some sense of relevancy and or good graces again. And I think that Claire, I think so, like the way that I can see it going, and obviously this is all made up, right? Like this is like me basically writing fucking fan fiction, right?
Right.
So that's that's essentially what I'm doing. But like I can see the conversation. Like it would not be crazy to me if the conversation had happened that went something like Dale kind of convincing Claire, like, hey, I love you, like sweet talking her back into the relationship, like giving him another shot, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking, like whatever it may be. And then he convinced her that it would be good publicity for the couple for them to go out when like he had kind of like ulterior motives, and she's just like, yeah, oh my gosh, like Dale and Claire clout, like our like cringy TikTok couple clout, like that's, I think that
Yeah.
like that's what she was thinking.
Oh.
And Dale was like, I'm gonna walk her out so people can see that we're back together again, so like everyone will know she doesn't hate me, so they don't have to hate me, and like everyone's gonna, you know what I mean? And like I think he had ulterior motives, and I think Claire is just like, I don't think she's naive, and I don't think that she's dumb, but I think that there's like some truth to this really upbeat, positive, happy-go-lucky persona that she has, in the sense that like she I get the vibe that she does want to see the best in everybody. So like maybe if it doesn't feel right, she like thinks herself into it being right, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I
Mm.
think that she's
I'm just scared for her. I'm
so
really scared for her.
I really just think that she is someone who is impulsively romantically in love. And I think that this is why my one of the thoughts I have in the when we were recapping her season is that I think she's an Aries rising, and I think she has Mars on the ascendant. And I think that with that being said, she has Pisces sun and Venus in the 12th house, and that's that kind of stuff that really, like, relationships bring up trauma for her. They always do, and that is something that happens when you have Venus in the 12th house. And this is for anybody listening, if you have Venus in the 12th house, you would know, because it would be whatever, if your Venus sign is in the sign before your rising sign. So the 12th house unfortunately rules a lot of uncomfortable stuff in our chart, in our charts. It's like where fear and stuff like that, rejection, live, and it's not fun. And but it's also where like spiritual enlightenment happens. And I just think that Claire could easily have a Pisces Venus there, because every relationship we have at least seen her in, and the other ones she discusses prior, like she said she was in an abusive relationship before she was on Juan Pablo's season. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if she had a Venus in a really tough place. And not only that, her relationships define who she is, like her identity. That's her sun sign. Like, that has to be what it is. Like, I'm just I'm very, very convinced. So, that being said, I could also see all of that. Well, ooh. No, never mind. Anyway, wow. Wait, what if her Venus is in the 8th house? Pisces. No, because that wouldn't work, because it would be Aquarius and Leo. No, yeah, no. Okay. Anyway, so that being said, tough shits for Venus 12th house. That's why I think Claire's that, and she deals with a lot of bullshit, and she just needs to not. I wish happiness for her though, and if Dale makes her happy and they stay together and do things,
Yeah.
cool, whatever. But I'm over it. I want to talk about the actual episode now, even though it's boring, and we'll run through it.
But it's time.
So much tea, but whatevs. All right. Yeah, so here we go. Is the hometowns, is the playoffs, baby.
We're in it.
And Yeah, and we start off with Chris Harrison talking to the women after Matt wanders around his house on a Peloton ad and does all that bullshit, just the same shit over and over. Like, I know it. He rides the Peloton. He works out. We get it. But whatever. He tells the women who is all going to be coming for them. And this is where we learn that Bree has a best friend named Bree. Yeah, it was just so random when she was like, Bree, your best friend Bree's here. I was like, wait, did I just mishear that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, and then they had showed previews for all the dates, and I was like, made this note because I was like, oh wait, do we all have a white parent? And I was not sure because I didn't see Serena's family fully in her. I love just calling her Serena because I don't need to call her Serena P.
Serena
really.
P anymore. Yeah.
But yeah, but then we do see her dad who is white, and all three women of color on the end of the season. This is first of all, for anybody who's a casual watcher, this is the first time ever there has been more than one woman of color in the top 4 women. More than one. And when I say more than one, the only 2 times it has happened are Rachel Lindsay in the top 4. She went home on her fantasy suite episode, but she was obviously the first Black Bachelorette. And Catherine, who is married to Sean Lowe, and she is, I think she's Filipino. I cannot remember, but she's like one of those like sure. Pacific, one of those island, Asian island countries.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it's Filipino. So, and she also won the ring. So we had a ring winner and a crown winner, and they said that's enough. The show was like, we don't need any more. Let's put white people in the rest of it. And so this season is, when they keep saying historic and all that stuff, it is like, this is the most women of color we've seen in the top 4 at hometowns. However, there is always at least one white person present at every hometown date. And that means something also, because not only do we focus on colorism, which honestly, like Bree, Serena, and Michelle are all like very light skinned. Bree is a little darker. I think her complexion is just different. But whatever, it doesn't matter. They're all definitely very like light skinned. So colorism is rampant here. So we got to have the light skinned ladies, but we couldn't have like Kayla, who he was seeming to really vibe with in the beginning of the first episode, right? Or we couldn't have Chelsea even. But anyway, there's that. And then there's also that idea that someone is, even Matt, someone in the Bachelor producers, this is like producers enjoying this. Someone is like adjacent to whiteness. Like Matt was raised by a white woman. All these people were raised by someone who's white. They all at least have some kind of whiteness in their background. They're obviously like, when Matt says like, I'm half white, it's like, nobody on the street would think that of you. Or any of these women, or Bree, or Michelle, or Serena. You know what I mean? Like, people on the street see you, and they're not thinking like, oh, maybe he's half white. That black guy. Who, let's make it more palatable to white people, who plays football and, is best friends with white people and has a white single mom. Like, anyway.
Yeah, it was definitely like a disgust thing. It was a thing people talked about, that Matt James was selected allegedly due to his proximity to whiteness, period. And then there was that conversation in the very first episode of the season in which Matt James disclaims, like, I'm probably going to pick a white girl. Sorry.
He says, I actually rewatched the premiere like a couple days ago with my ex, who is a black man, and he literally was like, "Oh, he's just up and saying it, huh?" He like unprovoked. He was like, "He's just saying it," and I was like, "Yeah, like, because that's the thing." That and he said my ex, who is my friend. It's not like a weird ex. Like we're friends. We were with his girlfriend. It's so fun, but we're watching, and he's like, yeah, that conversation means something different when you to black people. Like, and that's the kind of thing. It's coded language, right? It's coded language that white people pick up as, oh my gosh, Matt is being so considerate. He wants to like pick somebody of any race, like how open-minded, like he's really gonna be amazing, blah blah blah. And then black people are like, oh, you're really out here trying to disclaim that like you don't want to piss black people off by picking a certain kind of person. Like, do you hear yourself?
It wasn't, I mean, yeah, we spoke
We
about
were
it
both
on
immediately
that
caught
episode.
it, but
Like we said that when we recapped it, that it was a very telling conversation. The fact that it was that they deemed it necessary to have was telling
also
as
Chris,
well.
like, it's so funny thinking of all of this now. Like this
Yeah.
conversation happening with Chris Harrison. Like I knew, and I said it on the
Didn't
recap.
age very well, did it?
Oh my God. I said it on the
Mhm.
recap too. I was like, why do we have to have this with Chris Harrison? Why couldn't like he have this with, I don't know, Rachel Lindsay? I don't know, Tasha? Like we could have had that conversation, but whatever. I guess we don't get
I mean,
that.
literally anyone else. But I guess he's the host. Like, what could they really have done?
Yeah, but
They
I
don't have
mean,
that kind of
right.
forethought.
But it's just like we
No, because they're stupid. They
we
didn't
could've-
think
yeah,
enough in advance.
right. So anyway, that being said, we all got a white, there's at least always one white parent in the room when we're having Matt with this lady.
Yes.
So anyway, first date is Michelle, and the obvious thing, please tell me you noticed. I mean, the first thing of that is that they are matching.
Yeah.
Like almost exactly. I really wonder, like they weren't like, was this couldn't have been, I don't know. I want to say everything is planned because I just assume, it's all planned.
It was.
Maybe.
I think it was. I
But
think
it's
they
like
had
he
to
wasn't
select her
matching.
sweater. I think they had to confirm her sweater
But
to
they
see how it
weren't
could.
they didn't let him match anybody else. So it's just a wonder. What I just want to think is that they're both Sagittarius moons and she's a Gemini rise, or she's a Gemini sun. So they're just like,
They were just on the same page.
they're just twinning, literally. Like,
all right, I'll give it
so
to you. I'll let you have it.
that's my astrology moment for that. But yeah, they're
Right.
matching, and then they like ride bikes or whatever into like an auditorium, and the auditorium has a sign on it, and it says Mrs. Young's or Miss Young's classroom. And oh, this was really cute. Like, I don't, I'm pretty cynical. I don't like to get got by the Bachelor, but like this was really cute.
So this is what makes me wonder, because we know that, like, okay, who was it? Was it Dylan that revealed that like the lead has no say on the one-on-ones and that it's like a producer's pick?
Yes,
Didn't
he
someone
did
say that recently? But we don't think that's true. I know that, but I'm just making sure that he's the one that said it.
no. He did. So Dylan did say that. I do believe it's true before hometowns.
Well, that wasn't what I was going to ask. I was going to
Okay.
say, because Matt turned around and Matt said to Michelle's parents that he asked for a one-on-one with her the next day. So I was wondering how much truth there was to that statement, because all in all, like, they say two different things. So one person is not telling the truth regardless.
Yeah. I also
These two
do
things don't
think
add up.
that it is kind of a, so what I truly believe is true. So I believe Dylan is mostly correct. I do believe the producers do pick one-on-one dates. However, I do also believe the Bachelor or the Bachelorette could, if they really fucking want to, be like, hey, I want a one-on-one date with this person. I think it's a bit of half and half, but I do believe the producers have more control, because they could not do it for drama, right? But they still could honor him, because then think about it. Night one, he has given out all his roses, and he's like, the producer's like, oh, first impressions, what do we think? He's like, okay, I really like X, Y, Z, and I want a one-on-one date with X, Y, and Z. So they could then give him those one-on-one dates whenever, like they could choose whenever, but they honor it, oh, you got your one-on-one. So it's like, oh, was it now? Was it next week? Or was it in 4 weeks? Did you get your one-on-one? Oh, you said you wanted one. Oh, but sorry, you didn't specify that you wanted it like right now, Matt. So what I think with Michelle is that Michelle got there, she was a late arrival. So I really do think that Matt gave her that rose and was like, hey, I really want a one-on-one date like next week with her. Like,
Okay.
you brought her back in. And so I do think he probably asked. Also,
So
I'm
all
gonna
I
say
was
this too
gonna
about
say though,
Sagittarius. We usually be telling the truth. Matt never says anything where I'm like, that's a lie. Like, I don't think he's doing something to front almost ever, which is funny.
sure.
He bothers me in other ways, but he is very, very forward, very blunt. As he said the word blunt, the Sagittarius word blunt in his statement about the racism thing. He says, to put it bluntly, or he said, I want to be blunt, I need to be blunt or something. And I was like, yes, Sagittarius. Anyway, what were you going to say?
So all I was gonna say is that then there's something to the fact you brought up colorism. There's something to the fact that Kristen, the contestant that was sent home, tweeted that
Yes.
not a single Black woman got
monoracial
monoracial
woman.
Black woman, right? Was that?
Yeah. So
wanna make sure I
essentially
don't,
a Black woman with two Black parents or two
Yeah.
darker parents, right? Even
did
if
not
it's
receive a one-on-one this entire season. Which is interesting because you don't think about it. And maybe it's me as a white viewer, and like maybe that's on me, but like I did not notice that. And then as soon as I saw the tweet, I was like, oh.
Well, for me, I think what Kristen's advantage here is that she has met all of the women on the season and she knows all of them who have all their
She's
families.
had like
Because for me,
conversations.
I
about-
didn't know Serena had a white parent until this.
Okay, yeah.
And so for me, a viewer is like, we only see so much. Kristen talked to everybody there and knows all of them. So she was able to immediately point that out. And that's why it was like, oh yeah, it's like you do the backwards math. So I do agree that, you know, as white people, we are watching the show differently. However, she just knows more than us.
That's
so I
true.
think that,
Yeah.
but it was, for me at least, again, watching the show, this episode, it was clear that, like, obviously I immediately drew the connection that there was a white parent in the room in every place, in every family.
It was
so
apparent.
that it still matters. And so, yeah, exactly. We did not have a Black woman, a monoracial. That's such a fun word. Like, it's a classic, like, mono, one, racial, race, one, race. And anyway, yeah, Matt. So that's on the producers too, and also maybe a little on Matt, but inherent.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like if he is
internalized
requesting one-on-ones, if he wanted a one-on-one with Chelsea, or if he had wanted one with Kristen, if he had wanted one with Kayla, if he had wanted one with, and granted, I don't know if those are.
I mean, and I will give it to him too that he. Yeah, and I'll give it to him too that he vibes with Michelle, like he likes her. So, and I and obviously she's in the top 4, so it's like he obviously wanted to see whatever. But anyway, yeah, Dylan, who knows? I think it's a mix of both. I do think the producers have the say. But so whatever. Back to the date
fact that
and
Michelle
the kids.
planned this fucking date at Nemacolin.
So, and that's why I think that it's a mix, because I think that Michelle and Serena both plan their dates properly, and I think Brie and Rachel maybe planned their dates, but also maybe had a little help with from the producers. You know,
I mean, sitting there and saying like, I want to go skydiving is like, well, that's a whole day long
no
activity.
sense. Okay. It makes no sense to both go skydiving and go off-roading. I mean, maybe a little for Brie if she could like be like, I do this at home all the time, but like she didn't really say that, you know. The whole point of hometown,
like nature outdoorsy adventure chick.
But either way, a hometown date should be at least, and I get it, we're at Nemacolin, but they did it at Tasha's too. Like all 4 of them had something that they could at least tie back to being like, if I could have taken you home, I would have done something like this, and this is the best we can do. And
would she have taken him skydiving in Georgia? Probably not.
Right. Like,
probably not.
Honestly, thank God Rachel didn't get to have to take him back to Georgia. He really would have gotten get outed.
I mean, shit, it was bad enough watching it in a safe place that's Nemacolin. My God.
Really fucking uncomfortable. Okay, anyway, sorry, Michelle. We keep getting sidetracked. So all these so we walk into an auditorium of kids all on Zoom, and they're like, Miss Young, and they like, we're on Zoom right now, and I'm just like imagining us holding little signs like Miss Young T, and she posted a photo on her Instagram where they had shirts that said Team Miss Young. Like,
I saw it on my rewatch this morning.
Oh, so they did wear them in the show?
I saw at least one kid who was
Yeah, I
wearing
feel like not all of them were
one said
wearing
that like
it.
Team Young or something like that, or like Team Miss Young. Because I was like, oh
That's
my
so
gosh, it looked like the little like iron-on letters that you get at like
Yeah,
Walmart.
it's like
It was
so
so cute,
adorable. I
so
feel like
cute.
they maybe did it. I feel like they maybe did it at school before she like left for Nemacolin. But anyway, super freaking cute. And all of them just start grilling the shit out of Matt. they're like, they're like, are you gonna marry her? Did you guys kiss? Are you gonna give her a rose? Are you gonna have babies? How many girlfriends do you have? Like, are you
As
gonna
if
like
these children thought of those questions.
I know,
Please,
right? I feel like, yeah,
please.
the producers were like talking to the parents ahead of time and they were like, okay, would you make one of your kids this one, this one, this one, any of the, yeah. Yeah, it was whatever. However, there was one like cute kid who was like, read a really sweet like
The note,
message
right?
that like
Yeah.
Michelle had written her from her class or something. And then she was like, and what do you know, like Michelle inspire, like Miss Young inspires me. How does she inspire you? That one was like, that one for me, I was like, well, that's like, I want to say maybe they helped, but the producers, but that was cute. I don't know. That was
It
extra.
was, I think it was one of those things where the producers are like, and have you like what's something that like
Yeah.
what's something Miss Young has done that makes you feel inspired? Like blah. And one of the kids was like, oh, well, she wrote me a note before my test one time telling me that like I
Yeah.
got this.
Like,
And they're like,
yay.
okay, great. Like you read that.
Yeah. Aw. Well, either way, problem this
Oh,
it's this
so
is one of
no,
those.
it's
Yeah, I was
fucking
gonna say
sweet.
this is one of those moments where I was like, I know how produced this is, and I'm still obsessed because Michelle
It
was
was
like
cute.
really cute. She was like super fucking
Oh well,
happy.
no, that's the thing. It's produced because it has to be produced for TV. That doesn't mean that
Yeah.
it's not like real. Like it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's legitimate. It just is
It was so cute.
practiced.
Yeah. So Matt was like pretty nervous laughing the whole time and he kept doing the same thing he did. Like he's done it multiple times on the show where he like leans forward and a full like body mouth laughs. And
I
I
think
think
it's his
that's when
real
he's
laugh.
maybe oh wow. I
I
hope
think
so.
that that's you know when like I'm a silent laugher. Like when
Oh,
something's
you're like a
really funny to me, I'm like a no, my face is fucking horrendous. Like I'm like full on. I look
oh,
like I
you're like
should be cackling. Yes, but I'm silent. And
yeah,
that's like my
that's so
real
funny.
laugh. So like I
Wow.
I laugh like audibly sometimes, but like my real fucking like from my gut laugh is silent. So I think that like Matt thinks that things are funny and he like chuckles and he does his laugh, but like I think that's his like uncontrollable like oh
Yeah,
my god
I'm about it.
belly laugh.
Yeah, he's
Because
cute.
that's how he was when Heather walked in, and like I think he was genuinely shocked and was like, "What the fuck?" Like, so I think that that's his like
Yeah.
real emotive.
Yeah, because the really thing he does, the one real thing he does when he's nervous is the uh, uh, uh. He
Which
always
I
sticks
do
his
that too.
fucking tongue out. It's
I do that
everywhere. I've
exact
noted
same
it
thing.
I noted it during this episode. Anyway, he tells one of the kids, and did you notice that the kid that asked this about like, are you gonna marry her? His name was Tyler.
No, I didn't notice.
Well, I noticed it because it was on Descartes Pod's story. They were like, no more Tylers. Of course, his name is Tyler.
Matt was just
But they
drawn to
asked,
him.
and he goes, I'll Zoom call you when I know. Answering that kid. So that was funny. So anyway, all the kids do the like classic Zoom thing and they all like thumbs up and then they leave. And then they have this like little picnic and they talk about being passionate about kids and then they go to dinner, whatever. Yeah, and then we get to the parents.
Yes.
And one of the first note I have is uh another Game of Roses term. The father has issued a glow. The father's like, she's back to her old happy spunky self.
Okay. And this is what I noticed. I noticed that this is like a pretty common complaint about the episode is that he says that, and then he references
Yes.
later in the same talking head interview that she's had a couple relationships that like she wasn't treated so well. And then we get another clip late or like we get to a point where Michelle's talking to her dad and he mentions like blah from 2 years ago and she's like, oh, I'm so much better than I was 2 years ago. And it makes you realize, or I hope it would make you realize as a viewer that like why didn't we see them talk about this? Why is this not something that they devoted time to? Why did I have to fucking watch dumbass. I don't care if this sounds mean, but like that Victoria was a fucking stupid character on this show.
Yep.
She was a very unnecessary presence, and the
It was
fact
all
that I
such a
had to
fucking
watch
time
her
waste.
when I could have been meeting these fucking women, when Michelle could have been there from the jump and I didn't have to wait 2 weeks to meet her and we could have been getting her from the beginning. But actually,
Or,
in that
you know what
breath,
I also think
wait,
about? Oh, are we about to say the same thing?
okay. So I also have a thought, and I was gonna text you about this, but I thought that I should wait until we were recording so that I could say it on the pod. But I wonder if it was intentionally cut out because we're about to get Michelle as the Bachelorette, and they want
different things.
but they want to be able to actually tell these big parts of her story from her perspective instead of as a side commentary on Matt's season. They want to like save
Love
the
it.
juicy bits for Michelle's like coming out as the Bachelorette. Like, this is my story and this is why I deserve it. Like, my heartbreak goes much beyond my heartbreak with Matt. Listen to all this other shit that I've had to deal with.
Let's hope. I could see
Surprise.
that. I could see that. The one thing I
That's
was
my
gonna
wishful
say,
thinking.
yeah, the one thing I was gonna say is that, like, if you've noticed all of the conversations, all of the notable conversations that we saw with Matt and black women, or really women, well, yeah, black women, because I'm thinking of Bree, Chelsea, and Michelle, all of them particularly noted like racism. So Chelsea was about the hair, Michelle was about George Floyd, and Bree was kind of about, Bree's was the least, but it was talking about the same story that Matt has about white parent, absent black father. So I think that what the show is doing with these one-on-one dates, and really with showing us the conversations with the black women, is they are really only showing us the conversations that are like woke or something, right? And we're not actually getting conversations about the people. We're just using them, again, like Rachel Lindsay, as props to be like, look, we recognize these things are happening. We got it with Ivan and Tasha too. And meanwhile, Ivan's story was about him. It was about his brother being in prison and being a literal victim of police brutality. However, like, there was still the one-on-one date that was also used to be like, hey, look, we recognize this thing is happening. The ABC network is putting this on air. We're putting in no commercials over it. We're doing that. So that being said, we got to know Ivan better, which is why, again, we all loved him. But with Michelle, they're not giving women, because of course we're not giving black women as much time to speak as we are black men. So that's the extra layer.
I never give ABC the benefit of the doubt. I notoriously
never.
don't. Like, I'm like pretty harsh on them most of the time.
Yeah, this just feels
like
too.
my
I think it's both of these things.
Yeah,
But
I think it's just like me trying to be hopeful that like they're actually acknowledging what the fuck is going on, and I'm hoping that it was like a last week somebody made a decision and like called whoever and was like, get back in the fucking editing room and like recut the episode.
Yeah,
focusing on this so we can do this instead of this and that and this and the other thing.
Yeah, I hope. I would prefer that than that they're just actively editing out important conversations, because they're like, I'd rather have time for them to talk about the hair and the again, at least the hair was about, like, all of these things were layered into things about these women, but it was still propping up this conversation. Anyway, whatever. I wish we knew more. And yeah, I literally in my notes, I have parents saw her in a hard place, ? 2 years ago, ? Something vague, ? Like, that's all we got. It was like, I wasn't sure. So, and
I wasn't even watching it live last night, and I knew that this shit happened because everybody on Twitter was like, what happened 2 years ago?
Yeah. So anyway, then we get Dad talking to Matt, and he asks like, what characters differ her from everybody else? And he's like, oh, her beliefs. It's her beliefs and how she tells it like it is and what she knows and learns. And it's so funny because I'm just like, hello, a Sagittarius talking to a Gemini about a Gemini and a Sagittarius. Like, it's just like the class, it's the beliefs, like Sagittarius moon. Oh, she has big beliefs.
Say beliefs again.
Beliefs. beliefs. Okay. Anyway, he's like, are you in love with her? And I love it because multiple parents did ask him this, are you in love with her? And he's like, nah. I haven't told her that yet, and I wouldn't tell her until I meant it, but I am falling for her, is what Matt said. So he says he would move to Minnesota randomly also.
I
Don't believe this.
It was hard because like you could tell that basically Michelle's dad was like, tell me that you're in love with my daughter. Tell me that you're gonna pick my daughter.
Yep.
And however many words you can say it in, fucking say that to me. And Matt's like, I would move to Minnesota for her.
If I pick her, maybe at the end of this, maybe possibly
like to do other like he's like trying to like skate around it by implying it as best he can without saying it, without actually committing to it. It was like a whole mental gymnastics thing.
Yeah. And he did this again with Bree's mom too. But anyway,
Matt's a master at this. He's been doing this all season, and it was just like very, very apparent in this episode.
It's almost as if he's a Sagittarius. Really good at Sagittariuses are really good at evading questions and still making people like us. It's a superpower.
Yeah.
All right.
To it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But none of these people are. None of these people know he's Sagittarius. They are all going in blind. Anyway, dad says that they will respect Michelle doing whatever she wants, and I'm just like, wow. Like, these parents were just really sweet. Mom was the same vibe. She was like, do you love him? And she's like, Michelle's like so cute. She's like, yeah, I do. Oh my God. Like, and the mom is just like, oh, like, yay. And then they're just like, does it seem too fast? And Michelle's like, no, it doesn't seem that fast. Or I mean, no, but it does. Like, yes, like, but it doesn't bother me. Like, it's a classic, like, I don't know, maybe, but not really, Gemini. But anyway, then they play basketball. And here's her date. Rachel, I have in mind that was Rachel K date. And my first note is, I do not like distressed sweaters.
I don't either.
She blindfolds Matt and takes him speeding extremely fast in a car. And I was like, this is a little too get outy for me.
I would never allow someone to blindfold me and then drive me in a car. I would never in my fucking life allow somebody to do that.
He was literally like gripping the car, like he was not pleased. And he was definitely trying to be like, ho, where are you taking me?
Yeah, no, you can see it in his face.
Then she lets him know that they're gonna jump out of a plane
and they're gonna go skydiving.
And she says to him, just like Bree did on their one-on-one date, which was, if I die, I'm glad I'm dying with you.
I still don't like the sentiment.
I know, right? And then they go down and they fly down, and it's a vibe. And Matt like coasts down. And another thing I was watching on Descartes Pod Story, it actually did on the rewatch make sense. Like when Matt was going down, Matt like did kind of, he like stuck his legs up and out, stuck his butt down. Where when Rachel fell and went down, like it did look like there was a little more speed, but she also wasn't doing anything. She was just, her legs were just vibing. Like they was just like limping, hanging, limp on there. I was like, girl, but
yeah, it's like she
are you not even going to attempt to land butt first? You're not even going to try to learn butt first. Like, could we, come on. But yeah, she has a hair full of grass, sits up, and she probably is freaking out about how she looks watching it, TBH. But then Matt goes, she's not meant to take that kind of impact. No one is. He corrects himself. And I think that he's like, he was thinking in his mind, like, women are not supposed to do that.
Yeah. It was very bizarre,
no one is. No one is. So
yeah, but she fucking hit the ground, bro.
But then they just trauma bond. And honestly, this is exactly what skydiving dates do on The Bachelor. They do it every time. Every time there's a skydiving date, no matter how well or poorly it goes, like this, or if there's because there are literally 3 outcomes to a skydiving date on this show. One, you go up and then you don't go because someone is scared. And then you have a moment, oh my God, la la la, we won't go, whatever that is. Yeah. Second is you go up, you go down, you have fun, it's good, you have a huge adrenaline moment together, you make out at the end, and it's a positive thing, but it's still a big adrenaline moment, right? Third is this, there's an injury, right? And it's funny because 2 of those are IFIs and one of them is just vibe. No matter what, though, it's all a trauma bond. Even if it's a fun experience and it's a good positive adrenaline thing, it still kicks up all of that hormones, or not hormones, endorphins, adrenaline, and all this stuff in your literal brain. And then you see the person that went down with you and you're like, yeah, we did it, I love you. And you're like, ooh, make out. Like Tayshia and Colton. They did that, remember? So anyway, this one was just the literal actual trauma bonding of, oh my God, you were injured and I could have seen you dying and I didn't want you to die and I whatever. And I was like, this is dramatic. Drama.
It was, yeah, like you never know how much you care until like, you know, things like this happen.
And it's like, okay, that's fine. But also like,
I mean, I get it.
She's a racist punk.
But it's like, I understand in the sense that like I've said to my partner before, like, you're not allowed to go before I do. Like, yeah, you better just listen up. Like, I've got to go first because I literally couldn't handle it if it was the other way around kind of deal. So I get like saying that and like meaning it in a sweet, like, I couldn't live without you kind of way. Like, I care so much about you. But like,
yeah,
she's sitting up and talking to you. Like, she's fine. She's fine. It was rough. It was rough. But like, people have taken harder hits in football. Like, you know.
What's her face? Rachel said, she goes, I can't even think about going through life without Matt at this point.
That's what I mean. Like,
winning when I win the ring edit.
Sucks for you now, huh?
So anyway, they go to see the parents, and they show the parents talking before they get there, and they're all speculating on whether or not she's in love with him, and they're all like, I'd be surprised if she were in love with him.
I don't know. I think that it was very...
It's just really hard to not think that this was all very judgmental because of race and not because of just being a judgmental family. Like, and that's the problem when you know these things about Rachel. Like, it's
very difficult to watch it through any other lens once you found out.
Also, as someone who's been a white woman bringing home a black man to my family before, and my family who is Republican and not, I wouldn't say someone who's like, oh, they're so racist, but they're definitely like my mom. I mean, like the microaggressions are real, right? Yeah. So watching this happen, I was like feeling very familiar of just like because it wasn't that the family was like actively, again, they're not actively being racist or showing anything to Matt like that. However, they are trying every step of the way to lead Rachel and Matt away from each other. And that is what you are noticing. Like that is what the microaggression essentially is. When you can't be outright racist, you have to make sure your kid is not dating that person. So whatever you're going to do, you're going to say, no, I don't give you my blessing, I, don't like, what was he? It was like, I'm unrelenting on this. Dad is trying to, it's just like, he's trying to prepare Rachel. Oh, just in case your heart gets broken. Like, I don't know, it'd be difficult for me to care about somebody when you're seeing other people. Like, he's literally putting these things in Rachel's head. And all of that stuff is very gaslighty. And she's got a Pisces moon, and low key, like, yeah, as a Pisces moon, it's very easy for you to hear those kinds of things and be like, internalize that in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because he keeps saying, so stressed that it's so fast. He just doesn't, he's literally like, her father is straight up like, I just don't believe that anybody could be in love after this. He's basically like, I don't believe in the show, but it's
well, yeah. And then, I mean, we can just cut right to her dad and Matt talking, because that's basically what he says. Like, Matt sits there and Matt's like, I hear you. Like, I understand where you're coming from, and then the same type of shit that he did with Michelle's dad, where he's like, I feel strongly. I will tell you, I will say this every way I can other than actually telling you.
he didn't say something to his, but he said in ITM, like
Well,
he
he said like,
said that he's falling in love with her, and I've
no, no, no,
reciprocated
I
that
know,
to
yeah.
her.
I think that, but I think this goes actually to like the moment where
But
Matt
he did
talks
say
to
I'm in
Rachel at
love with
the
her.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what, and okay, I get it. I don't get it firsthand as a parent. I'm not a parent, but I understand the mentality of like being a parent and wanting your child to be loved, like wanting your
Right.
child to be the one, like I want to be sure that you are going to protect my child's feelings because I've been trying to protect my child. Like I understand that mentality. Um, and I guess I kind of understand why the parents would be skeptical, but like in the same breath as all of we say it to all the women that go on that have unrealistic expectations, like what do you think this is? Like
Yeah.
maybe you don't necessarily agree with your daughter being here, but like you were trying to get this man to do what exactly? Like say that he's going to choose your daughter. If he knew that for sure, then the show would be fucking over, sir. Like I don't know what you really, you know what I mean? Like
Like,
we've
you
seen
know,
that it can
that
end in 2 weeks.
yeah,
So
like this, we're almost done. Like you'll know
stop
soon,
trying to
buddy.
rush the process.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was uncomfortable to watch. And also Rachel's mom was not like, she was just their conversation was whatever. But what I think was funny is, yeah, when Matt, or when Rachel, when Rachel's dad and her were talking, that's when he tells her, like, oh, I'm just trying to prepare you just in case something goes wrong. Like, and then did you notice he holds his drink? He's got this fucking drink he's drinking. It looks like a gin and tonic or something, and he's got this long ass straw, and he's like, did you notice this part when she says, it's naive, it might be naive of me, but I just feel like it, and I know that I'm different than the others. I'm like, girl, please, no.
So this is
We
actually
know you're
where I
different.
started to, but this is where I started to feel like a sense of or where I recognize that it indeed was the fact that I was watching this through a lens of like find Rachel so distasteful, and like I find her family so distasteful that like I don't want to see them on my TV. So at this point I like knew that this was the case, but I like that I have yet to listen to Game of Roses. I'm really curious about their take on this
Same. It
actually.
sucks that they
But
are in
I
East
think
Coast
that
or West
this
Coast time.
is like the mentality that every one of those women should have. Like I stand up for those women that are always like, of course I want you to go home. I want to win. Like, of course I don't want you to still be here. Like, yes, I want you to, you know what I mean? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Like, you don't want me to get a rose? No, I don't want you to get a rose because I would like to be the last woman standing. And if you get a rose, that makes it more difficult for me. Like, I
Yeah.
usually support that mentality, and I like the like fake it till you make it confidence of like, I am the one.
And
I'm
I
going
agree
to
too.
fucking win this. But I don't want to praise Rachel for having good strategy because it's fucking Rachel.
Well, and the other thing too is like, she's telling her dad. That doesn't matter. You know what I mean? She needs to be telling Matt or producers or a woman or whatever. And I guess, by telling her dad, she's telling the producers, but
The camera. And,
it's still not a conversation that's like gonna permeate much more in theory.
It was
So
for our benefit. It was for no one's
right.
benefit but ours as the viewer.
And so when I see that, my thought is just, I was like, fucking A, like, girl, like, cause I'm just like, for me, it's just as funny because I'm like, damn, you have no idea how bad you look unintentionally. Like, talking, being like, I'm different than the other girls. I'm white.
And that's like with Matt's statement of like, you guys have to recognize that I'm watching this in real time, because it's almost like people expect him to like respond in the episodes, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
guys,
right. You're
like
like,
those were
this
filmed
wasn't
months
happening.
ago.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is not an accurate
Well,
representation of him right now at this moment.
yeah, it's a struggle. But anyway, he says that she's trying to convince him. She's like, you and mom are gonna love him. And then she's just like, he's like, I just want to make sure she's being respected. And that was that. So,
And then her being like, I am being respected or else I wouldn't be here. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, do you know where you are and who is taking care of you right now?
yeah.
Of course you're not being respected. You just don't notice. Dummy.
Yeah. Whoopsie. Well, anyway, afterward, Matt tells her that on their little bench moment, he's like, Matt says it was really good, and says he's just, he's like, I'm not trying to convince your dad about anything, but he also says, she's like, asks, like, what or something, and he's like, the one of, you know, the blessing conversation is a conversation I want to have with 4 families. I don't think
Well, it's
he
interesting.
gives a fuck. I don't think
Well,
he's gonna
so
ask anybody for their blessing. Maybe, really, I don't think.
I don't think this is a Matt thing. I think this is a Rachel thing.
Oh,
I
I
think
agree.
that like I think Rachel was like, if you want to marry me, you have to ask my dad for his blessing. And I
I
because we didn't
completely
see it
agree.
get brought up by none of the other women had this be part of their
No one gave a fuck.
hometowns.
And
He didn't
it's
have
also
this
not as
conversation with any other
it's like
brother.
it's finally starting to phase out. You know what I mean? It is finally starting to phase out, which is funny because in the conservative Bachelor world in the very beginning, it used to be a standard. Every single fucking hometown episode, the Bachelor asked
It was
every single
expected.
woman's parents, all of them.
Yeah.
And it's slowly been fizzling out. But the super Christiany ones, i.e. Rachel, of course, are the ones who are still going to be like, I want you to tell my daddy that you love me and that you want to marry me, and then make sure my daddy says yes. I'm just like,
Well, it's
ooh.
like for the sake of tradition, and that's what's interesting is because Matt turned around and said that if it comes down to that, I'll call him, like I'll Skype him, I'll hit him up on Zoom. You know, we've clearly got the capabilities. We just had a bunch of 6th grader or 6-year-olds in here.
Yeah,
Um,
like
but I
got
think
shoes and shit.
that what was I just gonna say? Shit, I forgot. Never mind. If it was important, I would remember. Never mind.
Oh my god, I just saw your tweet about the 12-year-old.
Yeah, isn't that funny? He looks like a 12-year-old, right?
He does. All right. Well, anyway, she then says that she didn't see, so she was definitely not pleased that he did not ask for the blessing. They kind of awkwardly left each other after that conversation. It wasn't bad, but they were like kissing or whatever. And then she's like, "This goodbye is so hard. She's like, I'm afraid to lose him." And then she's just like stressed about the other woman. She's like, "What if, you know, he likes one more than me? No, 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 no. Who knows?" Anyway.
Yeah.
So then we have, who's next? Bree. And this is where they drive in the Jeep. And oh, the one thing I thought was really cool though was that the Jeep was lime green, just like her entrance dress out of the limo.
I'm curious whose car that is.
Yeah, same. I definitely think it was a Jeep ad.
But I think it was, I have no
They
doubt
were
in my
literally
mind
like,
that
okay, we're
that
gonna go
car-
off-roading. What of our sponsors should we use? What could we finagle out? Let's do that.
I honestly think that it was a producer's car.
Maybe that too.
I think that it was a car that they had somebody on the set that day had
Either
keys
way, doesn't
to a
matter. Lime
car.
green, just like her dress. Anyway,
Oh
they
man.
drive around and they bump around, and it's really not that big a deal. But she does hug jump hardcore with lots of kisses. I think many of them have hooju's, all of them maybe. But they off-road, and Matt in this moment gave me a hint on his rising sign, and it made me wonder if he is a Virgo midheaven, because he talks about how he's just always had a job since he was like, since I was always first job was Christmas tree law. He talks about that, and that's something I actually believe. Like, there are people who, even if they're Matt, they're always finding a way to like do something, be productive.
Yeah.
But anyway, I could totally see him having a Virgo midheaven, because then he would have a Virgo Jupiter on his midheaven, which is very much like, oh, we just see him as that amicable party guy. That's exactly how he portrays himself to the world. The midheaven is how the public easily perceives us. And also, guess we'll continue this later. Okay.
Now I'm scared. I don't like that.
No, we'll continue this conversation at the Rising Zion game.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So Matt, then they go to meet the kid, meet the fam, and Matt is holding an extremely large rabbit, stuffed rabbit. And at first I was confused, and then when there was a baby involved, it made more sense, because at first when they said sister, I was like, oh yeah, Bree's sister or whatever, and I was like, oh,
I could see
no.
like a preteen or
Her
like
sister, I think, was this baby born like right before quarantine? Like, I don't think Bree met this baby before.
No. So
Yeah.
This was Bree's first time meeting her sister.
Which is like wild. But yeah, her mom is young and beautiful, literally so pretty. And she's like makes a joke about like they're like, so what have you guys been up to? And they're like, well, we know what Matt's been up to, dating. And Matt's like, dating your daughter. Tee.
Mhm.
But then the same conversation. It's like the same thing over and over. Her mom's like, "Do you love her?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm not having not yet. I haven't said so." He says that he likes her because they're both forward thinking. Hello, Sagittarius.
I was
Literally.
gonna say there's something about Matt that just is so familiar to me in the sense where like and you see it in these moments where like I'm sure he has amazing things to say about all of these women, but when he's questioned by their parents, it's like we're both forward thinkers.
I mean,
What?
everything he said was vague about every woman.
Exactly. He's just like,
And I
she's
get
a
it. Yeah, I
smoke
mean,
show.
but it's just funny. I'm like, just
It's exactly like that though, is it not?
no, it
How
does. It
Chase
is. Yeah. It's like, then the mom asks Bree, "Do you feel like you're in love with him?" And she goes, "This is the first time someone looks at me and sees every single part of me." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's because you guys are all Sagittarius." Bree says she's falling in love with him and is very scared about it, which again, Sagittarius, the classic like assumption of Sagittarius is the whole commitment phobic thing. And
Yeah.
Bree is definitely portraying that. And then Bree and Matt talk. She musters up the nerve to say that to him. And he's just like, "Cool, thanks." And she says she thinks her heart and her head are aligned, but then she definitely was like, "I'm a little nervous." Okay. Yeah. Then we have Serena's date.
Yeah.
I'm so bored.
Honestly,
At
okay,
least
because here's the
Serena's is
deal.
interesting.
I was gonna say, until we get to Serena's, it really is a whole lot of the same shit. Like it's Matt being unable to verbally commit to anybody and having
Yep.
the same conversations with skeptical parents who are trying to protect their children, and these
Yep.
parents are picking up on Matt's vagueness, and it's a whole bunch of the same shit. But as you just said, this is where it gets juicy.
Yep. And her date, again, like we mentioned, Serena's date is actually a hometown themed date. She does Canada stuff with him. And it's actually cute. And this is where, okay, so I posted on the story and it seemed like vague or dramatic because some people were like, "OMG, what? No shade." And I was like, wait, no, it's not a bad thing that I think she's a Gemini rising. I think Serena P is a Gemini rising because of both the date. Like she's literally teaching him. She's like, did school. That's so Gemini. Hence,
The fucking
again, the shell.
flashcards. Who made those flashcards for
She
her?
was
I
doing this
must
like,
know.
it was just really cute. And she's doing all this learning
I
and teaching stuff
loved it.
and specifically like the phrases and all that. And I just could totally see her being a Gemini rising. Plus, her family was like so critical and not in a like bad way, but just like the way that they went
Oh.
about this, it was a lot. And that gives me Virgo IC vibes so much, which is Gemini rising. We have
So in
this
the
Virgo IC.
same
Also, Serena's
wind.
so bubbly, just like, "Oh, I'm so talking." That's just very
Well, that's
Gemini
like
rising.
with the wind of the same episode that we or that with the same energy that we had the last episode after her date and like her sorry, my notes are on my phone and
No, you're fine. I
on
know
my
it's weird
laptop
because it looks
today.
like you're not talking. I know I was
I
looking
know.
even
I'm
at my
sorry to
phone.
anyone who's watching on YouTube. I have the like us as my full screen and my notes on my phone this time. So we got we had this energy in watching her hometown or her one date last week when they were having this conversation about like boundaries and her being uncomfortable. Where like we picked up on the vibe that Serena is almost like too real for the show. Like
Yeah.
she really doesn't care about I don't want to say doesn't care about Matt's feelings, but like she's like I'm not going to like pretend for the sake of the show. Like
Anyway, then they play hockey. It was cute. So
it's very good.
yeah, Canada stuff, which like good. Again, back to draw the date back to your hometown. It makes sense. All right, and then we meet the family, and I have in my notes all in caps because this is when I was confirmed that Serena has a white dad and everybody's got a white parent. She then just starts the descent. Like she's just like telling her sister that she's like, "I feel like I'm just catching up to his feelings," and then she corrects her sister when her sister's like, "Well, you're falling in love with him," and she's like, "I'm falling for him." Like the love level is so specific. It is a point at this game, right? You know what I mean? Like she's like, no, don't worry, I'm
Right.
not at that love level yet. I'm only at this love level. Just remember.
And this is sorry, yeah. So I had got ahead of myself before because this is where you realize that Serena's like, okay, so Serena really is just like a real bitch. Like she does not fuck decorum, like
Yeah.
fuck the unspoken rules of the show. She's like, I got the ick, man. What's up?
Yeah. And then this is when the sister's like, you're in your head. And I'm like, oh, thank you for confirming that Serena is a Virgo moon, because every Virgo moon I know is just like this, where Serena's just like, oh my God, I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. Like, it's just like thinking herself out of the relationship. Like, and not to say that she shouldn't be like, if she knows it's not Matt, like good, but it's like, again, she's sitting there like it's
It is possible.
making her head spin. And then the mom kind of said the same thing. Mom is asking questions like, does he intellectually stimulate you? Oh, that sounds like a Gemini rising. Gasp. And she's just like, this is okay. Oh, another thing I want to talk about with Serena. So this is when the mom says, she's like talking about the ex, and Serena starts talking about that ex that she mentioned in her PTC about how the ex and her were together for 5 years and then they broke up or whatever. And it was like this whole thing. This whole thing was showing me the Scorpio in her. Scorpios need to tell themselves, like they need to remind themselves that when you date someone for a very long time, it's going to take you some time to get over that person. And I don't think Serena's over her ex. And I think that this was a whole situation of her like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, I just got dumped. Like, fuck that guy. 5 years. What the fuck? I'm just going to go on the show. Like, this guy's hot. And then she got here and it's like, I can't stop thinking about my ex.
This was her rebound.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't process as a rebound because it's not like your typical one
It's
night
not,
stand
right.
type of
Like, she didn't get to
rebound.
fuck him and like whatever,
But her sitting there and her thinking, Matt James, that was the rebound.
Because the other thing
rebound
too,
never sticks.
Yeah, it never sticks. And the other thing too is that if you notice, Serena has fun with him at all of the points that they're doing fun things. But then the second they have real conversation or tantric yoga where they're face to face and he's trying to kiss her and it be romantic, she's like, no.
Intimacy.
Yeah, she's like, no, thanks. Like she
agree.
really was like, I like him as a friend and I'm going to stick around as long as possible, but I can't fake being in love with him.
Yeah.
And which is real. Again,
completely agree.
One. So she essentially, she cries about the ex and she's like, I was so sure. And then I was wrong. And I was like, and honestly, so obviously, no matter what, the producers are frank inviting everything. But this to me felt like we were only getting a piece of a phrase because I was so sure and then I was wrong. It makes me think she was saying, I was so sure that I was over my ex and I think I'm wrong. But it was it was talking about like, and maybe, I thought I was over him. I was so sure and then I was wrong. So who knows? That's just, again,
I think that's a really fair.
The show didn't want to truly be like, oh, she's literally just not into him and she's into the ex. Like, fuck, that's gonna look bad. Okay, we got to make it look like she's just got the ex and she doesn't want to do with him.
Confuses me because like that makes sense to me, right? Like I can follow that logic and I'm on board. Like I can ride that train with you. But then you think about the fact that they gave Serena that moment of being like, I'm gonna walk you out and put you in a car and send you away. Like it's obvious that, you know what I mean? Like at the end, they made it obvious that it was, I'm just not that into you.
Yep.
So it's like
You're
weird.
just
I
not my
agree
person.
with what you're saying, but like it's so weird that they like, I don't want to say switched it up, but like switched the vibes up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if they were going to go that route, they should have like committed to it. But I agree with what you're saying that like, it was not, I don't think it was Matt. I think it was like a culmination of like, oh fuck, I'm in over my head and I maybe should not be where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Well, and then they talk after the thing and Serena, it's just so funny. Serena, like it almost as if she was like, I'm the Bachelorette now.
I loved it.
Yeah, she was like, I have a lot of thinking to do, and this is like this is my own stuff to deal with, Matt. And he's like, what? And then after the dates, this is okay. Obviously, we heard that they were going to cut Chris Harrison out, but at least cut him out gracefully and don't drop me in the middle of a conversation where it's like, what? Like, it made no sense. Like, also, like, you could have cut the front stuff and Like, but this conversation I just dropped in and I was like, what is happening? We're only getting
The
the Matt line.
shittity
It was so
editing in
stupid.
this show sometimes blows my mind, given the fact that like they could have the best. It's like when you see the
They
Kardashians
just
with
gave up.
shitty
They were like, fuck
Photoshop,
it. We'll cut them out. Whatever.
but it's like when you see the Kardashians with like shitty Photoshop, and it's like you have the money to hire the best people. Why are your interns posting these like obviously Photoshop photos? And it's like ABC, like you have the money and the resources to get the best fucking editors. Why is your shit so sloppy?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. But whatever, they were talking about dumb shit. It doesn't even matter, too. Like, they could have just cut this conversation. They
Agreed.
really could have cut the conversation and jumped straight
Commit
to Matt
to
and
it.
Serena talking. But all they did was the only reason they included this was to make it seem like, oh, Matt, are you afraid that other women would do this to you?
I mean, yeah, he is. Of course he is.
Right. But whatever. And then again, jumps straight to this. And it's so funny. This is like the reverse. Matt does a knock knock to Serena and goes to talk to her. And
She's
it's
off,
not
man.
the other way around.
She
She's the
was
bachelorette.
off.
She's the bachelorette. And then he basically tries to convince her to stay. And she's like, nah. She says, he says, he's like, we've spent most of the time together, the most time together. I've seen you the most. Like, and she's just like, she's just like, nah, like we started with feelings. I had this connection. We had this, but I don't have it anymore. And then this is when he has his comfortable tongue face. Yep. Just can't keep it in. And then she goes, it's more than just being scared. It comes down to the fact that I don't think you're my person. Oh, God. Man. No, fucking fair point. But you never see that direct of a dump on except for the Bachelor to the contestants. Like he will say, I just don't think you're my person. But this way, yeah, no. Matt did a knock knock, Serena dumped him, and then Matt left. And then Matt left in a car and drove away. Like it was as if this was his moment. You know what this was? This was as if this was the producers being like, you know what? We're going to make it seem like we're going to make it know what it would have felt like if you were the contestant. You didn't get to do that, Matt.
Give him the one off.
We'll give you your moment in the limo to cry, leaving this after you get dumped.
Perspective.
Put you in their shoes.
I can't remember what I was going to say now.
They were sitting on that couch and they were just like at each other. And I have that picture on the story. It's so funny because it is the Sagittarius. I firmly believe this. I think that Sagittarius and Scorpio can work sometimes, but like they both had a Venus and Sag. Like Scorpio and Sagittarius don't tend to work out like very well. They usually want different things. And this is clear. Like they just wanted different things. But they're both just sitting there on the couch. Like Serena's just like they're just not happy. Oh God.
Oh, I fucking love it. I know that we mentioned, I don't know what prompted it, and I don't remember what episode we referenced it in, but we talked about the fact that like there was something Matt James did that gave us the air, or maybe me, I don't want to speak for you, but gave me the air of like he forgets that being the Bachelor does not make him automatically desirable. Like the women still have to like you. Like you don't just get your free choice of the women that are here because you're the lead. Like they still have to have chemistry with you as well. And I think that like him getting dumped by Kit and then him getting dumped by Serena, two women that are just like, we don't really see it with you. Sorry. Like I think that is a bruise to the ego that he wasn't expecting, especially this close to the end. And I think it's,
you know what's funny is Matt there have now been 2 self-eliminations, and I kind of wonder if we will see more. The most that has ever happened in a single season, I already saw this on, I think it was Bachelor Data, was Juan Pablo season with 4 women. But I could see both the other women. Oh God, it would be amazing because TBH, that happens a lot to Sagittarius. Unless they're like such assholes that they're like, fuck you, I'm like, oh, I've been free, bye. Like most of the time, Sagittarius people get kind of stuck in a relationship and don't know how to find their way out. And then just they're like, you know what? Yeah, okay, it's over now or something. Like they just like find a way to weirdly leave it. Whatever, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah, they break up, whatever. And then it's the rose ceremony, and we literally get the shot as like Matt's crying. We get the shot of the women walking into Nemacolin for the rose ceremony. And then Rachel and Brie hold hands, and I was annoyed. Like, ew. And yeah.
Well, so this scene of the women prior to Matt entering, the scene of the women being like, "Where is Serena? Like, have you talked to her
Yeah,
today?
they're all
Like,
whispering.
talked to her today?" This is what I was gonna say earlier. Like, I was just like, but when I said like we'll talk about it later in the rose ceremony, I think that this makes it clear to me, my perspective, that Matt probably had one of the strongest connections with Serena to the point where the other women noticed it and the other women
Yes.
couldn't understand why she wasn't there because they knew. They're
Yeah.
like, he has an incredibly strong, he like we know that he likes her a lot. She was the only one that got 2 one-on-ones, which, you know, he apparently was the one asking for this season. So he
Yeah.
made it a point to see her twice. The other women have to know that he's got some kind of very serious
Yeah. And they all
connection.
kind of said it to them, like, did she leave? I want to whisper because they all were whispering, and it really was like watching ASMR. They were like, where's Serena? Do you think did you talk to her today? Did you see talk to her yet? What? Do you know where she is? Did you get ready?
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah. And I think it was funny though, because Gemini Michelle is the one, she's the one asking all the questions. She's like, where did they go? What's going on? Oh my God.
She has to know, yeah, the hot gossip. What's the
But
tea?
I think it was, yeah, she's like, what's the tea? What's the goss? Because yeah, again, yeah, you're right. And they must have also, Scorpio Serena must not have told them any of that. She was definitely not telling anybody, you know, because also fucking smart, Serena, to not tell anyone, because the second you fucking tell one of the other women, I don't know, I just like, I'm not sure like how I feel about him, and I feel like I'm catching up. The women would be like, oh my God, Matt, Serena, like, I really love you, Matt. I just like really care for you, and I just don't think that Serena does. Rachel, they cute Rachel
Maybe.
crying, fake tears, whatever. So then they have the rose ceremony. Matt mopes, and then
Capital M.
yeah, Chris Harrison tries to scare him again. Do you think the other women, are you afraid? He's like, okay, sure, yeah, I guess I'm having doubts. And I was just like, this is boring drama. Then Matt just
This is
comes in
like where it gets boring because they're intentionally trying to stress him out because
yeah, because
you
they have to
know.
fill episode time. Again, we could have known what happened to Sid Michelle 2 years ago, but alas, give us the tapes, ABC. Give us the tapes. But anyway, then we give out the roses, and it goes Michelle first, Rachel second, and Brie last. And Brie noted it. She noted it. She was like, it's so weird not getting the first rose. Like, she knows the importance of the first rose. And it's actually was weird. Like, she's pretty much gotten the first rose like most rose ceremonies. Like, I'm surprised. And
I wonder if so this is why I wish we had an accurate account of how these roses are given out, selected, and all the things, right? Because every time we hear somebody talk about how rose ceremonies work, it's a different fucking story until people pick up and like run with whatever story is out right now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
all of a sudden someone posts a TikTok or a tweet about the fact that the roses have the names on them, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, the roses totally do have the names on them, and it's like fucking weird.
show me where. And I guess, yeah, they always look down.
Yeah, and that was it though.
Olivia's
It was
dying.
like
they always
I
look down at
remember
the rose,
seeing
but I think
it.
it's just because of the contemplation. They're like,
I think they're instructed to. I think it's for dramatic effect. The producers are like, make sure you
yeah,
like look down and
I
get.
don't think that it.
But
How could you
right,
write on that tiny rose stem? There's no leaves on the roses.
right. But like,
Come
I
on, people need
digress.
glasses.
However it's actually done, I just want to know how it's actually done because, like, for all you know, Matt was so for all we know, not you, but like for all we know, it's completely and totally random. And Matt was so fucking distraught over the fact that Serena was leaving that he just called the women in some random order, and it didn't actually.
I mean, he called them in the order left to right.
Right, exactly. So like
his view. So
whether it's
it,
like producers
yeah,
telling him to do it that way and it was meant to be intentional, whether it's never whatever it may be. I wish that we had
yeah,
an
you're
accurate
right.
telling of how this shit works, because like I would buy that if
Yeah, I
someone turned
wonder.
around and said there's 3 women left and they were all getting a rose, so we told him just like there's fucking 3 of them.
But yeah, okay, cool. And then next week is the women tell. Oh, yeah. Wait, I have one thing. Rachel talks about being nervous now, and then she's like, she has this really weird face like happening in the group. She's like holding her roses. She's looking at Matt like this.
Because she's special. Remember,
With like
Shannon,
weird
she thinks she's
conniving
special.
look. It was very strange. Maybe
She's
I'm reading
being
into it,
it's
projecting,
well,
but
no, I don't think you're projecting. I think that that's probably what she was trying to do, but it's probably with the same type of energy in
yeah.
which Anna thought that she was being
Oh my
seductive.
god.
And she's looking at
She's
him
like,
like,
I am giving him face play so that he gives me a rose.
so
Oh,
you know what I
so
mean?
funny.
Like, if Anna can think that she's being like sexy and like come hither with her face the way that it was, I could believe that Rachel thought that she was serving like seductress.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
But that's just I don't know why I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, but we just I don't know.
whatever. Fucking Rachel. All right, next week is fucking not fantasy suites. Next week is women tell all, which honestly,
Yes.
sure, it'll be intriguing, honestly, because of it'll be fun to revisit all these dumb bitches. But will it? I don't know. Will I be
I
annoyed or will I
wonder.
not be annoyed? Who knows? TBD. But I saw what you got out, and I'm more excited to talk about that because the other preview was just all of the rest of the season. I don't care, whatever
So
drama.
shocking. I can't find my black marker, so I'm gonna find it while
Oh,
you give
oh,
us
yeah,
give us
whatever.
your lowdown.
Oh, on the game because oh my god.
Oh, the game, baby. What
All
else?
right, so remember how I was talking about the Virgo midheaven and Matt's Virgo Jupiter.
Yes.
So to have a Virgo midheaven, for the most part, you are most likely a Sagittarius rising. And the more I've thought about it, I actually think Matt is a
No
Sagittarius.
way.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna
Shut
say it.
up.
I'm gonna say it right the fuck now, okay?
Oh my god.
And I have reasons. So I think Matt's whole fucking chart. So, oh my god, Sagittarius rising, his whole Sagittarius stellium in the first house, which is why he is very blunt. He is just kind of like who he is. He's not really giving us. He's not trying to hide himself, but he's not exactly telling us a lot about him. Like it's like whatever in and out. He's pretty much just open with that's like all we get, right? So the only other planets in his chart, other than his Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because those are generational planets and we all have that, right? So Libra Venus, if he's a Sagittarius rising, Libra Venus would be in the 11th house. I've read a chart of a friend of mine who was on Are You the One on MTV. She has a lot of 11th house placements. And Venus in the 11th house is very much I met my romantic partner on a reality show. So the 11th house, okay, the 11th house rules community. And when I say community, I necessarily mean the community that we project ourselves to. So if you think about the 10th house, I said the 10th house being the midheaven, and I put this up because it is the highest like straight line of the chart of your chart. When you look at it in the circle. The midheaven being in Virgo would put the 11th house in Libra. So the midheaven is where we are doing our career or whatever. So in Matt's case, the midheaven is the show. That's where he is putting himself on a show in the public, out in the public view. The 11th house is us watching him. It is the audience. It is the viewers. It is his friends who comment on it. It's his Instagram followers. It is all of that. Like 11th house is social media. And having a Libra 11th house means you are really amicable to people. You are very like Venus too in that house is very much like I have a lot of friends who love me because of the people I like his best friend Tyler, his basically bromance has gotten him onto a fucking TV show. Like it really makes sense to me. And then his Virgo Jupiter would be in the 10th house. Jupiter on the midheaven, he literally shows us his like biggest personality trait, especially on Instagram. His 10th house, right, is like fucking partying with Tyler, like doing bro shit. But also Virgo midheaven, he does try to like help people. Like he's trying to somewhat have a kind of like nonprofit for profit, whatever the fuck. He's trying to do things for kids. And that's a very Virgo thing too, a very like helping the community. And again, helping the community because Venus in the 11th, he loves this community. So,
Yeah.
and then what that would put his, the only other thing I'm thinking of is his Aquarius Saturn would be 3rd house. I could see that. Saturn. Wait. Oh, okay. Shout out to one of my babes, Jake's Astrology on Instagram. I adore Jake. And I remember one time we were talking about Saturn in the 3rd house, and we were very joke, like constantly talking in jokes and drags, like it's just whatever. But he goes, Saturn in the 3rd house sounds a bit stupid to me.
What did I say? The big lovable dubby.
Look, and that sounds really rude, and I do not want to shade anybody with Saturn in the 3rd house. It's just more of like Saturn slows things down sometimes. And 3rd house is kind of like, again, we were talking about this earlier. 3rd house is where we have schooling and learning and all that stuff. And so I just, if the shoe fits, Matt. So that's, that is my official read on Matt, is I think that he's a Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Interesting. And I can't believe we've made it to this point.
I want that to be true just because I
know,
think
that's
that
okay.
would be
I know, because my analysis was just
glorious.
so good.
No, I think that would be like fucking magic. If Matt James turned on and Matt James is like, I'm a purebred Sagittarius.
Purebred. Well, hey, he and Bree, all her shit falling in his 1st house, and they're both like, he sees me. We see each other, we vibe. I could see it. The only other thing though, so if I think about it, the only other thing I could see realistically at this point is
I'm putting my marker down.
Him having Venus in the 1st house, aka Libra rising, his Sagittarius stellium in the 11th house, aka being a very public figure or whatever on TV on a reality show, which would put him as an Aquarius rising. But I can't see. I can't really see him having Saturn on the ascendant and him being ruled by Saturn. That doesn't, I mean, he says he's always been working, but that gives me more of a Earth midheaven. So maybe he's an Aquarius midheaven and is instead a Taurus rising. No, but I don't see that. I mean, ruled by Libra Venus, maybe. I don't know, rabbit holing at this point. But at this point, I can only see a couple of options based on like his Sagittarius stellium and those few other planets, like where that would fall.
So based on the actual like math of his chart.
Yeah, based on the house. Because that's why I was like, with the Sagittarius stellium, and stellium, for anybody listening, is just a concentration of planets or a concentration of planets in a house. So for instance, Matt, since he has sun, moon, or maybe moon, but probably moon, sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, that's 5 planets in Sagittarius. That is a Sagittarius stellium. But that also will be eventually whatever house in his chart that falls in will also be a like 1st house stellium or a 2nd house stellium or whatever. So if you have 3 or more planets in one house and 3 or more planets in one sign, that is a stellium. So anyway, so because of the math of his chart, I could see him having a lot of 7th house action because 7th house is house of relationships. Obviously, he is very public about relationships. A lot of 10th house action because he is a very public person. A lot of 11th house action because of the reality show, the social media aspect. A lot of 1st house action because he is just himself. Or a lot of 5th house action because he is just a kind of a party boy. And that's like the 5th house is the house of like pleasurable, fun things that we do. So that would be, so let's see. Sagittarius 5th house would be probably a Leo rising. Maybe could see it. That's been one of our guesses before. Libra rising I could see because of Venus on the ascendant. I could see Venus on the midheaven, which would be Capricorn rising, but I don't see him being ruled by Saturn. That's my thing. I just don't think he's ruled by Saturn. I don't think he's that unconventional Aquarius dude. Oh my God. Whatever. I'll have more definitive. Yeah, we could keep talking about this as though the next 3 episodes go on because we'll have less to talk about in
if
the
fucking
content.
Matt James would just respond.
Hey, Matt!
Please.
Matt James and Clare Crawley. Pretty please give me
Claire. I know you're listening.
Claire,
if
you're
Claire's
literally
mentioned,
listening.
I know you're listening because
Honestly.
you can't help yourself.
Honestly.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you and tell you what I wrote down with no explanation.
Ooh.
And now after what you've said, I don't feel very confident about it, which is why I'm not going to give an explanation. But I'm just going to tell you what it is, and I'm just going to let you run with it. Okay?
Let's go.
Sagittarius moon.
Okay.
Cancer rising. And now tell me your thoughts.
Wow. This one's spicy. So I could see Cancer rising because he does seem to be a mama's boy. That would make him ruled by the moon, and I could see him being ruled by a Sagittarius placement, no matter what. And that would be ruling him by Sagittarius moon. That would give him what a Saturn ruled 7th house. Sagittarius stellium would be in the 6th house. Cancer, Libra, Venus would be in the 4th house. I don't know if I can make the argument for the other planets, how they would fall. But it's like, I know Cancer rising men. I know Cancer rising men, and I could see that. So with Matt, no doubt. Okay, but hang on. If he's a Cancer rising, then his midheaven could be an Aries ruled by Mars, Sag Mars. Maybe
He's punched a hole in a wall every now and then. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, many thoughts. Can't wait to see the next few episodes. We're gonna get maybe some more like meat to some things, right? We get like fantasy suites. It's always a good episode, right? Well,
I'm looking forward to fantasy suites because I'm honestly, more than anything, they're gonna give somebody a treehouse date, and I really just want to see it so I can go and find it.
That'd be dope. I'm ready to, again, I'm ready to go save it, Neiman Colin.
I love the Poconos.
I'm getting vaccinated soon. Like, let's go. You're vaccinated.
Very proud of you. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you very much again for helping me out. New York City, New York State, I guess, actually. If you are eligible for the vaccine, which both Olivia and I are, if you are eligible for the vaccine, you should Google about registering for it, because that's the thing. That's the step I didn't know, is that you have to like register somewhere into something. It doesn't even really say, like, it's just like it's almost like it's an arbitrary
like a statewide database just to
collect
your information.
Right, because they don't even like they then give you, but it's like you have to do this registry so that then it shows up and gives you the places that you would be able to go to and when that would be able to, like, what appointment you'd be able to get. So it's like, so you register, and then I have to go through and you fill out more forms to do the actual like signing up for the vaccine. But anyway, just I highly recommend, if you're eligible to do that and you did not know, just Google registration and registration for the vaccine in New York State.
And what's good, like, you fill out all of that extra information from the comfort of your own home. That way, when you actually get to the vaccine site, it's literally like
you just walk in and out.
Check. Like there's a couple of checkpoints, but it's easy as fuck.
Yeah. So, wow. Well, anyway, so again, thank you for that. And anybody listening, everybody get vaccinated so that we can like have a life again. Fuck. Like,
be responsible. Wear your masks in the meantime.
Yes, please. And when you get vaccinated, still wear your mask, because
you're still a carrier.
We don't know what's going on, right? Like,
You're immune, but you can still carry it.
Yeah.
It just can't make you sick. So be careful.
So, all right.
Follow us on all the platforms. Do the Roses Align on Instagram, dtrapod.com. You can follow Shannon at Astrology Chef, me at Jessica Tula, or PT Jess D on Twitter.
Oh yeah, and I'm Astrology Chef on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter. I'm lit.
Yeah, Shannon's funny.
Astrology Chef Twitter for me is like living. I live my life on Twitter. So I'm on the Do the Roses Align Instagram all the time. But my Astrology Chef Instagram, like follow me, please, because eventually I literally will do stuff there. But I'm just like, whatever. My like Instagram, I just tweet. I love Twitter. So yeah, but and then also subscribe to our YouTube, watch us on YouTube, and love you, mean it. Yay. Okay. And everybody please DM Claire to get her birthday. Also same for also
but
Matt.
Be persistent, but don't harass. But
like don't harass, but just like please everybody. I just want small like hashtag DTRA pod, like hashtag star
find
babies.
the fucking birth time. So that's it for this week. We will see you next week.
See you next Wednesday. Bye guys.